back. Y'all already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Raiders! You already know what time it is, man. Make sure to clock in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through, man. We about to have a great show. We got some things to talk about today. I mean, you know, obviously the guys that's running the show with the Raiders these days, you know, Pete Carroll, Spytek, and I believe I think I seen something where, you know, Mark Davis is able to talk to some media members as well. We got a conversation talking. They said a few things. You know, Pete Carroll kind of, well, we'll get into it. Pete Carroll kept it a little politically correct, you know what I mean? But, you know, I think Spytek
kind of.
Nah, for real, man. But before we get into it, man, we got to salute the night crew pulling up, man. We appreciate everybody pulling up today, man. And hey, man, D Snowman in the building, man. It just says Raider Nation for life, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. You know what? We're going to salute you the right way, man. I know. Hey, man. We would have did the AP Raider Nation, you know what I mean, salute, but you know, people, it's a little too soon for that. It's a little too soon for that. He said, damn, why you got to do TB12 like that? Has he not purchased your respect? I mean, well, first of all, I don't know if you are misinterpreting the thumbnail. That's what you're referring to, the thumbnail where they combine Tom Brady and Mark Davis's hairline. You know what I mean?
That's classic.
It's funny because it's basically saying that Tom Brady is running the show. Now, will he, you know, lead to Raiders to the promised land, you know, Super Bowl? Like, hopefully, that's what we're hoping for, but. Right now, man, as a Raider fan and the things that we've seen all these years, there's a lot of losing. Like, wait and see. But we got some good things to talk about. But hey, man, we got Super Omnicron. I think
my man having a seizure. Somebody check on Super Omnicron, man. Somebody check on my dog. Make sure he cool.
Man. Hey, nah, man. Omnicron's the guy, man. Hey, hopefully everything's cool, man. He over there. He's struggling right now, man, but he gonna get it together. Egalitarian 207 in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. We got people, man. We got the class. Yeah, we got legendary people coming through, man. Old school people. Oh, we got Sacktown Raider Mike, man. Always holding it down. Appreciate you coming through.
Always.
Moon over Miami, man. My guy, man. Appreciate you. Is that a spider? I think, what is that, man? Like, you gotta let me know. Mood over Miami. What is that? A tarantula? Let me know, man. I don't like spiders, man. To be honest with you, man. We got Myra G in the building. Appreciate you coming through. We got everybody pulling up, man. Today, man. We got Yaya Hatamaki in the building, man. Michael Rivera. Hey, man. We love the intro though. We love it though. That's all we play it every show. Every show we play it.
My dog Mike, I think he says it every show. I think every show he's like, that did your longest. Oh man.
Hey man, we love it, but you know, hey, you know, we're always looking to improve. We appreciate constructive criticism and all that type of stuff. So we'll try to make something cool for the show. So don't worry, man. But I appreciate you coming through. Yeah, shout out
Anthony Provencio in here.
Anthony Provencio in the building, man. Just, you know, with the Raider flags, man. Hey, okay, now
Queen Raider right up in here. Okay, there you go, Queen. There you go, Anthony.
Super Omicron. Super Omicron is cool. He's good. All right, he was struggling for a second.
All right.
Yeah, he's good.
Cool,
He says,
cool.
"Wow,
Don't worry about my dog.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk trade, Gentry in the first round. Hey, we'll talk about it today. It's worth having a conversation. Even, we'll save it. We'll get into that. Salute to everybody pulling up. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, we appreciate everybody coming through. We're going live on both our channels. L11 says he says Pharaoh, Severe Nation, man, Assassin Creed in the building. Michael Rivera, man, he's saluting you right now. Severe for president.
Hey.
Hey man, hey look, you got to
I can do better than the last two Mugadoos we had. That's for damn sure.
Hey man, oh Tony says, oh shit, it's the 50-50 show. Oh, I got to get another beer, man. Hey, look, there you go, man. There you go. Kick back, relax, man. We're gonna have a great conversation today. Queen in the building. You got jokes. She got jokes. Queen got jokes. For real. That's how you feel. Damn. All right, Queen. All right, Kevin Lurker in the building. We got everybody pulling up today, man. We're gonna have a great conversation. Let's not waste any time, man. It's been, man, I felt like a lot has happened since the last time I was able to, get on here and talk about the Raiders. From this, I guess Hunter Renfrow was able to come in the building and get a workout with the Raiders. It's been a while, it's been, I think it's been a year, at least a year away from football.
Yeah.
And when I say away from football, I mean like people were, we were concerned. We're like, where is Hunter Renfrow? Like we're not hearing nothing about Hunter Renfrow. He's not really active on social media. I think I seen something about a couple months ago where he was supporting something outside of football. And I'm like, oh, okay, man, I guess he's moved on. He's gonna retire, but I was wrong. He is looking to make a comeback, and the Raiders are one of the teams that he worked out for. I'm trying to think of the other team that he worked out for as well, but he's gonna be working out for some teams, and hopefully he gets an opportunity. But you know what? If whatever he shows in that workout was good, hopefully we can pick him up, man. I like Renfrow. I feel like he's a natural slot receiver compared to like a Trey Tucker. You know what I mean? And you know what? Low-key red zone target, too. He did have like, 9 touchdowns? 9 touchdowns that 1 year,
something like that, yeah. Something like that.
A lot of that was he had really good chemistry with Derek Carr.
Yeah.
But, so you got to take that for a grain of salt. So it really comes down to if, him and Geno click. But I wouldn't mind a Hunter Renfrow, man. Do you think a Chip Kelly... Let's say hypothetically speaking, because there's nothing official. It's just a workout. Do you think he would fit what Chip Kelly would be looking for at receiver?
Yes and no. One thing about Chip Kelly, I made this point before, and I don't know. I didn't watch a whole lot of Ohio State, but I did watch a lot of Chip Kelly at UCLA, obviously being a UCLA fan. And one thing he likes to do is he likes to use his receivers, specifically his slot receivers, as lead blockers and pullers. So he'll use them, he'll pull them, he'll use them as pullers, like send them in motion, and then use them as lead blockers, kind of like a pull type of situation, and like in a pin and pull type of game, and use them as lead blockers. And he had guys in the past like not Jake Bigble, but Logan Loya was really good at that. Kyle Phillips, really good at that. Hunter Renfrow, not a guy I can really see being a lead blocker, in the run game, pulling like coming from the slot, pulling all the way over to the other side, from one side of the line of scrimmage, from the strong side to the weak side of the play, and then like acting as a lead blocker. I can't see Renfrow doing that. I've seen Kyle Phillips do it. I saw him do it for multiple years. I can't see, especially with Hunter Renfrow's concussion history now. Like I don't know if that's something he's gonna be able to do. But just his skill set, just as a slot, oh yeah, he definitely fits. Like Chip Kelly likes guys that can run routes. He likes guys that are precision route runners. But like I said, that is an important part of his run game, and I can't see Renfrow doing that.
So he would want a guy that can block in that slot receiver spot, at the very least. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
and Trey Tucker, low key, is not a bad blocker.
He's surprisingly a very good blocker.
Yeah,
surprisingly.
Yeah, he's not a bad blocker. But man, that's I guess that might be tough for Renfro because I don't know if he's the guy that you want to be out there and featuring as a run blocker.
Exactly.
I mean, that's not really a skill set, but we'll see. You know, they did bring him in. You think that was more of like, you know, he's loved in that building. They probably have a lot of respect for him, or he has a lot of good relationships. You know, just to give him an opportunity to show what he can do.
Yeah, I have a conversation from what I believe it was Spytek who said it wasn't like really a workout or a tryout. It was more of a, hey, let's have a conversation, kind of see where you were at mentally. And then, you know, we'll see where things go from there. So maybe it's just touching bases. Like, you know what, hey, you know what, I'm interested. You know, is there an opportunity? If there was an opportunity, what would it look like? That kind of deal. And maybe it's not something they do right now, but maybe it's something, hey, possibly if the draft goes a certain way or it doesn't go a certain way, maybe something they revisit. Or if he doesn't get an opportunity elsewhere, maybe it's something they revisit down the line. But I don't think anything is like, I don't think there's any momentum building toward anything imminently.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But it was kind of a nice little. It happened on a Friday too. That was crazy. Like,
exactly.
Hey, Friday, I guess, is the day where, you know, news gets dropped. Because I think wasn't Friday the day that we found out that Geno got traded as well? I think.
Was it Friday?
Yeah, because the reason why I say that is because we do Around the Shield, and lately we've been doing it on Thursday. We do a live show, and we usually drop an episode on Fridays during the regular season. But I guess, you know, with the news kind of, you know, coming in and changing at any given moment, we've been doing live shows on Thursday. And after the show, the next day we hear, oh, Geno gets traded. I think, hey, let me know in the chat, man. Salute to everybody pulling up. I think Geno was traded on a Friday, I believe. I think the Raiders were able to get him on a Friday or a Saturday, one of them days.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but hey, look, I'll welcome it. Hey, man, we need some talent at that receiver spot, because right now, and can you see? And you can only envision Hunter Renfrow playing in the slot anywhere, because I think the need right now is not in the slot; it's more so on the outside.
Exactly.
But you know, Renfrow has experience playing on the outside too. You know, especially them years where we didn't have the Devontae Adams. This is pre-Devontae Adams. It was the Darren Wallers, the Hunter Renfrows. You know, they don't even want to bring back old wounds, but you know the Henry Ruggs, guys like that, man. Guys like that.
That still hurts, man. That still hurts.
I know. But that being said, you know, Spytek and you know, Pete Carroll was able to talk to at the NFL annuals meeting where, you know, they take their, you know, annual pictures, head coaches, you know what I mean? There was a funny moment where Pete Carroll's taking a picture. He's sitting right next to, or in between, Jim Harbaugh and his brother John. Yeah. And he was able to talk to the media for like 30 minutes, like just chilling, just talking to the media. Like, did you take anything from that whole conversation?
From Pete Carroll's conversation?
Yeah.
Not really, man. It was a whole bunch of nothing, man. I had to, man, I really had to, like, so I tried to listen to it while I was doing something else, and then I really just couldn't take anything from it. So I'm like, dang, you know what? Let me sit down and really focus on it, because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he's, you know, and then I listened to it again. I was like, bro, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing here. This is nothing substantive here. It's a whole bunch of, you know, platitudes. And, you know, he had some nice things to say about Geno and some nice things to say about Brady. And then some nice things is, you know, like paying lip service to the Raiders. So, like, I know you said something about the Raiders. Hey, you know what? Can't focus on the past. We're going to look at the future. Like, you know, that same, but it's nothing I wouldn't expect. This is like, his answers were written by ChatGPT. Like, nothing I wouldn't expect, like, some cookie cutter head coach to say. But that's a guy that's been in the game a long time. He's not going to give you anything. He's going to give you just the straight vanilla, you know, no toppings, no whipped cream, no cherry on top, no waffle cone. He's just, hey, the straight vanilla in a cup, you know, right. Like that's with a plastic spoon. Like, that's all you getting. And so that's, and that's a veteran. That's a veteran move. So I'm not mad at it, but as a guy, when you're a content creator, you look at it a little bit different. Like, damn, dog, this is what you giving me?
Yeah. No. He was he kept it bland, politically correct. He didn't really say anything noteworthy. Usually, sometimes you can read it in between the lines when it comes to certain things, but he didn't really give too much. He was super positive. He said all the right things. You know what I mean? Which is cool. It's fine. It's whatever.
Exactly.
But the one thing I guess you could take away. I remember he said he did mention, someone did mention Tom Brady to him, and he was like, everybody's expecting him to be this outgoing guy. Now Tom Brady's in there. He's super focused. He's super competitive. He wants to win at all costs. I took that. I was like, man, like, I'm thinking about possibilities. Like, if Tom Brady could take his on the field success and bring it into that, that Raider, a shout out to y'all, man, Raider war room, that front office, and make the right decisions in the front office, which the Raiders you could point to is probably the foundationally, that's the reason why the Raiders have been bad for this long, is the fact that we keep making mistakes up top. You know what I mean? Whether it's at GM, at head coach, drafting, signing, all that. And if we have someone in there like kind of like just steering the ship when it comes to big decisions, letting the guys do their job, but at the same time, like, he's gonna be in the building to be like, no, we're not gonna trade this guy. Like, this, you need to relax here. You know what I mean? Like the Khalil Mack's getting traded before the season, like stuff like that. Like, come on, man. Like, that should have been, we should have signed him to a long-term deal, but that's a whole different conversation. But I think that was one of the things I felt like that was noteworthy, that just made me think about like the possibility of Tom Brady. But you can also point to that and say, oh, he said all the right things. But
exactly. No. And that's, hey, look, sometimes it's like in those situations, it's like an offensive lineman, right? If you're not making any news, that's probably a good thing, right? If you're not saying anything that's newsworthy or noteworthy, hey, you know what? That's good. That's kind of what you want. You don't want your coach to be in the headlines. You just want your coach to be coaching, and that's what, like you said, that's what Pete Carroll's mastered.
Myra, you hella funny. She said Omnicron throwing up gang signs. This is from earlier, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification. But I think at this point, everybody's they're just waiting for this, man. That's what they waiting for, man. They're waiting for the pick, man. I can't wait for the draft. At this point, like that's what everybody's like looking forward to. There might be a signing, possibly. They might have a signing or two. It's possible, but I think everybody, including the Raiders, are gearing up for the draft, and hopefully, man, we're able to nail that first round pick, because that's been an issue over the years, like we mentioned. Man, shout out to Coach, man, pulling up every time. All good, Michael, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. We got everybody pulling up today, man. We got everybody. They had Renfro come in for a workout just to feed him a decent. Oh man! Hey, what happened? Glassjaw Gino turned Sacramento A's of Las Vegas. Hey man, you clowning, man. You clowning, man. Okay. All right, damn. Shit, I'm just gonna leave it at this right here. I just read something right now.
First of all,
you know exactly what I'm talking about. Salute to 831 Raider, man. You know what I'm talking about too.
Yeah, I saw it. Already peeked.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here, man?
I was checking. He wasn't on my chat. He was about to get hit with that Dikembe Mutombo. No.
Oh yeah, let me. Let's see real quick. Yeah, you right about that. All right. Man, so let's move it along, man. So I think what else? Oh yeah, let's start with Omicron. I think he has some good stuff that he mentioned earlier. He was talking about the certain trade rumors about Tyreek Hill. Now, I don't know. I felt like it started in social media where, someone on social media was basically implied that, Tyreek Hill will be a draft day trade. Look out for that. And then Tyreek Hill kind of like, responded by putting a peace sign. They put the deuce sign.
Yeah.
And earlier, like I think in the offseason, there were some rumors, especially like his last interview on the way out after they lost in the regular season, or I don't think the Dolphins make the playoffs this year. The Dolphins make the playoffs, but it was one of his last interviews where it made it seem like he was like, I'm trying to get out of here, man. His people were kind of speculating how long Tyreek Hill was going to get traded and this and the third, and then it got squashed. We're not looking to trade him and da-da-da. But now, I don't know, maybe there's a possibility he'll be available. But do you think that, look, I'll say this. As a receiver, I think he would be perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Not that he's just even a number one receiver. It's just his skill set would be perfect to the pieces that we have on offense. Because we know he has the speed. He could, he'll be able to stretch the field. You got the Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers to work the routes underneath, and then you got him to. It would be perfect. Now that being said, I don't know if Tyreek Hill is a good fit for the Raiders in that, like, he wants to go to a team possibly. He wants to compete.
Yeah. And
I don't know if the Raiders can guarantee that. And if the Raiders can't guarantee that, then it's going to be another Devontae situation. I mean, what's your take on Tyreek Hill? Do you think he'd be a fit for the Raiders?
I think he's a fit as an outside receiver, but the thing about it is Tyreek is older, so he doesn't really exactly line up with our timeline. He's not super old, but he doesn't match up great with our timeline. Also very expensive as a wide receiver, so that's another thing where it's like you can go with some younger options. They're not going to be Tyreek Hill, but you can go with some younger options and presumably or hopefully find somebody that can duplicate that skill set. And they're not going to duplicate their production or be what Tyreek Hill is as a player. But if you want to stretch the field guy, ideally you can get a guy like that later in the draft. As I said before, he's not going to be Tyreek, but you know what? You can use some of that money that you would be spending on Tyreek elsewhere. Maybe some more investments in offensive line, or maybe some more investments at linebacker or somewhere else. So especially right now, like you kind of like if we were like a wide receiver away, you want to add a guy like Tyreek Hill, like, hey, you know what, this really put us over the top. Maybe that's something you do, but it's gonna be draft compensation plus a whole bunch of money. It's not something I'm really willing to do, especially. Like, I don't even know how long he has on that contract. So it could be a situation where we give up a pick, he's unhappy, and then he bolts, and then you kind of left holding the bag. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation again.
Yeah, I don't know if he would be a good fit in the locker room too, because if he's unhappy over there with the Dolphins, and the Raiders are they're trying to build something here, and like the whole reason that Pete Carroll's here is what? Culture. You know what I mean? So why would you bring a guy like Tyreek who can possibly mess up the culture? Because he's frustrated that he's not winning in with the Dolphins like he was spoiled with the Chiefs. Him, Patrick Mahomes, and arguably the best coach in the NFL, if not one of the best, in Andy Reid. All-time great. Yeah. So he goes to the Dolphins and he sees like, hey, yeah, he got his money, but he's not seeing the same on-field success as far as team success. And, I don't know if the Raiders, it just wouldn't. I would love it. I'd be like, I'd be intrigued by it, but I've been like hurt way too much from wide receivers coming to the Raiders in a big-time trade. And when I say wide receivers, we can go all the way back to Randy Moss, didn't work out. We can go to Antonio Brown, probably the worst. We didn't even see him play on the football field. To this day.
Man.
To this day.
To this day.
To this day. Man, I got that somewhere, man. I got that somewhere.
To this day. To to this day.
Hey, but what I mean when I say to this day, I'm talking about former head Raiders head coach John Gruden, Darren Waller the other day. We're talking about, like, he brings it up all the time, even to Max Crosby. Like, it didn't matter. Yep. Like, they bring up the Antonio Brown because it's such a crazy situation, and you would think that like a guy like Gruden would be like, man, that dude was insane and he was this and that. But all they have to say, even Derek Carr,
super Christian, like loves
them. The way they talk about Antonio Brown is like he's one of the greatest players to ever touch the football field.
Bro. John Gruden was like, nah, then Derek Carr was like, man, I'm gonna throw for 6,000 yards. John Gruden was like, bro, like he was just throwing it up there. Antonio Brown was catching it on his helmet and just like down the field, and then dancing afterwards, like cooking everybody. Even they talk about, who was it? I think it was Isaiah Johnson. They interviewed Isaiah Johnson. They was like, bro, who was the toughest player you ever had to cover? And he was like, man, Antonio Brown. He's like Antonio Brown was killing everybody in practice, killing everybody. And then his people from the side were going like, yep, that's it for Antonio for today. They shut him down, and that'd be it. Like Antonio Brown would do his thing, and his folks would be like, yeah, that's it. That's all y'all getting. And then he shut it down. But Antonio Brown, like, he was a monster, bro. He was a monster. His work ethic was like crazy. Probably one of the best work ethics in the history of the NFL. Like top 10 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know he was a great player because as dysfunctional and crazy and terrible, and we, you know, a lot of Raider Nation hates Antonio Brown for like him just literally just ruining what could have been a solid season, or at least good season for the Raiders on offense. Because it was a big what if. Every Sunday we would have had our popcorn ready watching Antonio, like a great player like him.
Yeah,
and man, it just, that whole situation. But my point is that the receivers, we trade for a receiver, and we don't really capitalize. We don't really take advantage of how good that receiver is. We had Devontae, had a great first season. Second season was solid. Third season incomplete. Yeah. He ended up getting traded. Like, we never really capitalized on those moves. Exactly. So to be honest with you, I'm a pass. I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think a Tyreek Hill is a good fit. Brandon Ayuk, I would have. I like Ayuk, but I'm
cool on Brandon Ayuk.
I'm pass. He got hurt. And I ain't gonna lie, when he was healthy, he was struggling a little bit. I don't know. Maybe he got a little comfortable when he got the bag. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I'm passing on it, man. I feel like the Raiders just. We are thankful right now. We got our Brock Bowers. Now we can be strategic in getting who we want in at that receiver position. We probably can go cheap, meaning that we can draft somebody and develop them while we have a guy like Brock Bowers who's ready to go and contribute. Jacoby Myers, a vet, contribute. And if we can have a guy that can, in my opinion, stretch the field, I think that would be a perfect fit. But, you know, if at the end of the day we need a number one outside receiver, so I'd rather we draft somebody. But we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But yeah, man, it's so funny, man. John Gruden, like, he always brings it up, and he recently brought it up with Darren Waller. It's a clip.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can find it, but they're like, Darren Waller was like, man, like he was just shaking his head, like, what could have been.
Yeah, bro. Antonio Brown was different, man. Antonio Brown was different, man. If you get it, that would have been, man. Oh my God, if we would have gotten AB, like, yeah, man. That's one of the biggest disappointments. It's just that fool just went crazy.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, Jake Long. You said Kyle Williams is a lot like Ruggs. Hope we drafted. Nah, I don't see that. I'm gonna pull up Henry Ruggs' just physical profile.
Yeah, no, Henry Ruggs is a freak, man. Henry is a freak of nature, bro. It's his arm, his hand size, how tall, like how tall, but not like just even his height, but it's just how he was built. Was like this dude was like, he was gonna be a problem. And he wasn't even like a refined product yet, but he had a hella work ethic and he was working toward being that. So if you ever put that athletic profile together with the proper technique and polish and refinement, he was gonna be something crazy, bro. He's gonna be something crazy.
So Henry Ruggs was one of top prospects at receiver going into the draft, but no one thought he was going to be the first receiver taken. But his athletic score, according to NFL.com, was 98. 98, which is first. He had a 4.27, a 40-yard dash, and I believe
and he was mad about that. He ran a 4.27 and was disappointed.
Yeah. And I believe Kyle Williams, he ran a 4.4. Henry Ruggs' 10-yard split was 1.43.
Oh my God.
42-inch vertical, 10 by 11 broad jump. Like, the dude was a freak of nature. And, he did stand at 5'11", but he made up for it with his athletic, just physical, it was crazy, man. And the thing is, it wasn't, I didn't want to state it because it's going to get me like, man, I'm like, damn, man, like what could have been with Henry Ruggs. But because we've seen a little bit of the development, especially from the first year, second year, you've seen that he got better. I'm like, man, I think we might have something here, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't think Kyle Williams, I think he's a completely different player, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, Kyle Williams got shorter arms, smaller hands. I think he's shorter. I think Kyle Williams might be 5'10", 5'9". And I don't know about the weight or whatever, but yeah, I mean, hey, look, we'll see. But I mean, do you view Kyle Williams as an outside receiver or a slot?
I think he can play outside. He can play outside, but Kyle Williams, he has some good releases. I think he has some good speed. The problem with him is, same situation. He's not physically, like he's not that strong. He's not well built, and he also is a guy that he can have some concentration drops at times. So yeah, but he's a guy like if you get him later in the mid rounds, later in the draft, man, that's a hell of a value right there, and he fits what we need. But yeah, I'm not. Ruggs was like people say, oh, you should have took. CeeDee Lamb, or you should have took Jerry. I remember a lot of people thought Jerry Jeudy was the number one receiver in that draft class too. Very few people had Justin Jefferson as a number one prospect in that class. I think T. Higgins was in that class as well. So was LaVisca Chenault. It was a few wide receivers in that class that were supposed to be highly ranked guys. But Henry Ruggs, just based off his physical profile alone, was going to be a first round pick. And then, off that physical profile, he got drafted first overall. He was just a different kind of animal. Just his athleticism, his trajectory was something insane. And had he had a opportunity to really continue to develop, I think he would have been the second best receiver in that class. He wasn't going to be better than Justin Jefferson. I think he could have been better than CD. I think he could have been better than CD.
Yeah, because he's a lot more explosive. But hey, man, appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Man, we got a lot to talk about. I don't know why we forgot about this, but the Raiders did make another signing. And linebacker, Devin White. So they add to the linebacker room. Obviously, the Raiders lost, Devon Diablo, Robert Spillane, 2 starters on defense. Now they picked up Orlando Roberts, Devin White, who you might think might be, as of right now, they're projected starters, just based off like how people see them. But all right, the only thing is that both linebackers are not really guys that can cover at all. They're not known to cover well.
No.
So, which tells me like now the Raiders still have a need. They still, they're just adding depth, adding competition to the room. But they still need to get a guy out there. Maybe, and it's looking like they're gonna have to get a guy in the draft, and hopefully they find someone that can cover. Maybe he's on the roster. Maybe it's the Amari Bernies. Maybe someone at training camp. It's going to be a situation where it's going to come down to the wire possibly on who's going to be the starter at linebacker. But against the run, though, Devin White has great instincts. His ability to be a person that can, tackle well. He did struggle against the pass, though. I'm not going to lie. But Orlando Roberts, though.
I think people have an idea of Devin White based off
how he
Devin White.
No, I'm playing.
But people have an idea of Devin White based off what Devin White did in those playoffs.
Or that
and
2020.
In that 1 year. So people have that, and that is like you ever seen a movie Jurassic Park where it's like they have that mosquito and that like ember. And that's like, and that, it's in from that mosquito, all the dinosaurs are essentially created, right? And that's what people like from this one little time capsule. They have this idea that Devin White is a good player. And I'm here to tell you that Devin White is hot garbage. Like, Devin White is a steaming pile of garbage. He's not good against the pass. He's not good against the run. He's not a good tackler. He has average instincts at best. He has, lack of effort oftentimes on the field. Questionable attitude in the locker room. Warren Sapp has questioned him as a person in the locker room. Levante David, his own teammate, his fellow linebacker, basically called him sensitive. Said he was too sensitive to ever be a great player. Questionable, right? He's a guy that when he didn't get the contract he wanted, basically started dogging it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans can't stand this man. They despise Devin White. He went to Philadelphia, didn't play a single down for them before they got rid of him. Went to the Texans. They didn't bring him back. Played, and that's playing for a guy like DeMeco Ryans, who is a linebacker. So, and they didn't want his services for cheap, for basically nothing. And they said no. He's not good. What Devin White is good at is he's a great athlete. Like, as athletically as a linebacker, there are few linebackers in the league with his athleticism. And then he's pretty good as a blitzer. And he's a guy that, he goes for the splash play. He tries to get ball production, whether that's in the passing game or whether that's, trying to pause, but whether that's, trying to go for the strip sack. He's a guy that tries to if he's tackling a guy, he's going to try to go for the ball and create a fumble. But he's not good. He had a very good playoff run, and he had a solid year the next year, but people think he's better than he is. He's already going to be on his fourth team. Like people criticize Cleveland Farrell. Cleveland Farrell has basically stuck in most places, right? He was good, solid contributors on every team he's been on. He's carved out a role. Right? Every team he's been on. He carved out a role here with us, carved out a role with the 49ers, carved out a role with the Redskins. He's going to be in the league for a long time. If Devin White does not pan out with us, he will never get signed again. He will be washed out of the league. So people were mad that we took Cleveland Farrell over Devin White. Cleveland Farrell is going to last longer in the league than Devin White does.
You know what? I hear what you're saying. And you make some valid points as far as him going to different teams and not sticking. Obviously, Tampa Bay is the team that drafted him, and then he obviously went to the Eagles, which is like, man, that's a super talented team. If there's a team as a defender you want to go to, and get your numbers up and get your stats up, because you got have great players around you, and all you got to do is do your job, and then you could the guy next to you is probably going to do it for you and make you look good. It's going to be the Eagles. You know what I mean? Especially
a linebacker. You got that defensive front in front of you?
I get you. So for him to get, like, they cut him. They let him go.
Didn't play it down. Didn't play it sing. And they gave him a cool contract too. They said it's like a 1 year, 7.5, I think, with 4 guaranteed. They gave him a cool contract. And they still didn't play him down, and they cut him. Right.
But for me though, and I think how the Raiders looking at it, it's a low risk, high reward move. Yeah. Low risk, high reward move. If anybody knows him, it's gonna be Spytek. He was in the building when when Devin White was there. So he knows what type of player he is, talent wise. Like they feel good about him, or they feel good about the move, where they're like, you know what, and that's kind of been the theme of free agency, low-key. Low risk, high reward moves, from the Atlanta Roberts to even to Devin White to even the corner, Eric Stokes from Green Bay, who has an injured past. I'm not comparing him to Devin White, but like, guy that's drafted in the first round, ran a 4.2, so there's an athletic profile. They're like, hey, you know what? If the guy stays healthy, he kind of fits what the Raiders want to do on defense at corner. It could work out. If it doesn't work out, they haven't really committed too much money for him long term. So I think it's just a low risk, high reward move for Devin White. So I have no problem with it, but I don't think that it's going to be the end all be all. Meaning the answer to what the Raiders want at linebacker. They're going to have to like add more competition to that room, and it's going to happen in the draft.
Definitely. And know how you know, because before we went after Devin White, we signed a Landon Roberts. We re-upped Mauga. We went after Christian Ellis, right? Before we even took a look at Devin White, we did all these other things at linebacker. And then only when Christian Ellis fell through, we was like, dang, all right, let's bring in Devin White. After all that other stuff happened, he was like, well, damn, now we're shopping in the clearance section at Ross, right? It was like, damn, well, we couldn't literally do anything else. As it came to a situation where, do we want Amari Barney or do we want Tommy Eichenberg on the field? Like, I'll give Devin White this. He's better than Tommy Eichenberg. I'll give him that. What is that really saying? I'll give him that, though. He's better than Tommy Eichenberg. But would I rather have him on the field or Tommy Eichenberg? I'd rather Devin White 10 times out of 10. But that don't mean he good. That don't mean he good.
Oh, man, that tells you how much he hates Eichenberg. He just literally destroyed Devin White, and he was like, "Oh yeah, well, if I had to choose between Eichenberg and Devin White, I want Devin White on the field." I'm like, damn, man. If you did a whole show on Eichenberg, you would probably end his career, man. That's what it's looking like. Man, but shout out to everybody pulling up. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, we not done yet, man. So, I mean, at this point, what would you say is like the biggest? We talked about this before, but like, with the recent sign-ins, moves, and hearing, Pete Carroll talk, and like they seem pretty good about like the moves. They feel like they got better. Which I don't know. I think that's just them trying to say all the right things. I get you. But
these motherfuckers are selling fake Rolexes in Times Square, bro.
Right.
They're selling fake Rollies in Times Square.
Yeah. What would you say the biggest need is right now?
Nickel corner. I would say we're probably the biggest need, and still linebacker, because Devin White is trash. But nickel corner and linebacker. I was gonna say we didn't address that, but we re-signed Darnay, but that's not really. I don't know if that's the. It's gonna be some big nickel. It's gonna be like some 4-2-5 situations where it's like Jeremy Chan or Palomau playing nickel. Jeremy Chan did it last year. Palomau did it last year too. So I can see that.
Yeah, but
not ideal.
Yeah, like that's something you do. That's something you do when you're trying to like throw the
Stop
defense, like just to throw the offense off. But if you're doing it on a consistent basis, I feel like the offense is going to expose them. You know what I mean? But
possibly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's not something you want to. Not something you want to do, but that's the thing. It might. We're in a situation where that's where we might have to, and then if you want to be able to throw different alignments out there. So I don't expect Palomau or Chan to play nickel consistently. But they're going to be in that rotation if we don't address it in the draft. It's going to probably be a rotation of them. Darnay Holmes is going to probably be out there sometimes. And hell, we might even try Jack or Jacorian in the slot, if we need to, and maybe have Eric Stokes on the outside, because I don't think he has a profile that fits as a nickel corner. So I think we're gonna throw some different stuff out there. and kind of see what sticks. But as of now, I think it's Darnay, Palomau, and Jeremy Chin, which is why I say nickel corner is probably our top priority, followed very closely by linebacker. And the only reason I'm putting linebacker second is because I think we might have something in Bernie. I think he improved last year, and I know a lot of the fan base is intrigued with Gainer. I am as well, based on what he did in preseason. You kind of want to see him continue that development into this next season, kind of see if he can make that second year leap, especially since he didn't play full-time linebacker in college. He kind of moved from edge to linebacker, so kind of see, hey, what, another year under his belt, under this system with this coaching staff, even though he got a new linebacker coach, but still very similar system, kind of see where he goes, if he's a guy that can develop, because he has the athleticism. We kind of see he has the size to play the position. So you're hoping that he can develop. So you have two young guys there that you hope can develop. At nickel, you really don't have much of anything.
So where do you see Stokes? Do you see him more of an outside boundary corner? You don't see him in the inside?
Yeah, more outside guy.
Okay, so I mean, Jack Jones is kind of the same thing. Jacorian Bennett outside, so you got three outside guys, and then you got Darnay Holmes, and then see, having a Meek right now would be actually, it would have been solid if the Raiders were found a way to re-sign him, because now if you think about it,
Tyler Hall, even Tyler Hall would be all right. Tyler Hall.
Where is Tyler Hall these days? Let me look this up. Tyler Hall. I mean, I felt like he was solid when we picked him up. That was actually one of was that a Mike Mayock pickup? I think it might have been a Mike Mayock pickup.
I believe that was a Mike Mayock. Because I think we grabbed him from the Rams practice squad. So I think that was a Mike Mayock guy.
That was a few years ago, but I don't know. Is he still Tyler Hall? Let's see. Oh, he's with the Seahawks. Let's see. He's a quarterback. Yeah, I think he's with the Seahawks. That's what I think the last listed team for him right now. It says Las Vegas Raiders. Damn. Is he even? I don't know if he's in the league.
The league. I'll kick the tires on him. If nothing else, is he guaranteed to make the team? No, but hey, get some competition out there. I like what I saw when he was here.
So it says he's with the Seahawks, but he didn't have any snaps played in 2024. So I don't know, man. The end is near, man. The end, if that's happening, but I don't know.
Oh, where's Duke Shelley? Remember everybody was saying he's supposed to be good. Everybody was like, "Oh, Duke, dude, we got Duke Shelley now.
And
Duke Shelley's going to be a guy."
And he got cut too. He's 26 though. Tyler Hall 26. Damn, man. NFL, man, it's not for long, bro.
Facts.
Yeah, but I think he's with the Seahawks right now. That's what it's listed on here. So, but yeah, hey, that's another position, man. That the Raiders have to look into, corner, or nickel corner. Obviously, nickel corner would be the most immediate need. But I would say, I would have to push back, man. Linebacker, man, Devin White can't cover. And for what we know from Atlanta Roberts, he's not known as a coverage guy. We got to get a cover linebacker. I mean, maybe they get creative and, like you said, can use the Palomaus and the Jeremy Chins and certain defensive formations and stuff like that. But man, linebacker is something that I feel like the Raiders are it's all signs point to them. They're going to be addressing that in the draft, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Remember, there were some reports I got to check the sourcing because I don't know if this was Rajan saying it, but I remember there were some early reports saying that the Raiders were looking heavily at linebacker, and this is when I think this is when people started to kind of see the writing on the wall for Diablo, hey, Diablo probably out of here, and they were assuming that we were gonna still roll with Spillane, so and we ended up losing both those guys, so. If they were the reports where we were looking at linebacker then in the draft, possibly higher than people thought, and we for damn sure got to be looking at it now.
Yeah. I mean, but let me ask you this, man, before we move it along, man, because we got to get into the NFL. Also, they had rule changes as well. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, the chat is going crazy right now. I'm trying to keep up. Appreciate everybody coming through. Anthony, I'm gonna push back on Ruggs was a bust. I don't think so. I think it was just, obviously a crazy situation that Ruggs got himself into. And he's dealing with the consequences of that. I think that's technically, if you want to, I don't look at it as a bust. I think it was just a freak situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just a freak situation.
He made a terrible decision, and it cost him his career, probably cost a dog their life, cost a young lady her life, destroyed the family. So, it's a bad mistake. But it was crazy that dudes in the NFL, they keep making that same mistake. They haven't learned the lesson.
Right. And when I think of bust, just to be clear, I'm thinking of Alex Leatherwood. What's the corner that we took that year? Damon Arnett. I'm thinking like players like that bust. You mentioned Cleveland Farrell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Solid role player, but you don't take him in the top 5. That's not a guy that you take in the top 5. Like, they went for need instead of taking the best player available. But it is what it is. But yeah, man. You know what? I know you said nickel corner, but that running back room, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that too.
You can argue the running back room is like the biggest need. You can argue.
You can.
Because based off what Chip Kelly brings to the table, right? Yeah. And what Pete Carroll wants to do on offense, and just look at the running back room as how it's currently constructed. Mostert is a guy like, he never stays healthy. Maybe you can put him in like a role where you give him a few carries here and there, and he could have an explosive play because that's his skill set. He's a fast running back, but he's not a guy that you can count on. Sincere McCormick hurt. Zamir White just came off a season where he was hurt and he was ineffective when he was in there, even when he was healthy. Like, we've been quoted to say, like, so many shows, we're like, we got to double up at that running back position.
Double up.
Now I don't even know. I'm actually, I'm gonna throw this at you, man, because I was thinking about this the other day, man. I don't know if the Raiders could double up at running back, man. It might be a luxury. It might be a luxury.
I'm still doing it. I'm still only way I say they don't. I can see them not doubling up is if Chip Kelly looks at Sincere or Zamir and says, you know what, I can work with those guys. If he looks at those guys and say, you know what, I can do something with those guys where they can be my other back. They can be my other guy, right? And whatever you feel about Mostert. Mostert is maybe the change of pace guy. They look at one of those guys and say, you know what, I'm comfortable enough with them being another guy in that room where we don't have to double up. But if you have opportunity and the value presents itself, I'm no doubling up for real, bro. Especially in this class, you got a potential to get like 2 starters. You can do it. You can have a Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb situation where it's like, bro, pick your poison. I'm doing that all day. Especially with Chip, bro. Especially if you get a guy like a Travion who's like probably the best in pass pro in this draft, one of the best receivers as a back in this class, and then one of the most elusive guys in this class as well. Doing that, and you pair him with a bell cow guy, and you can maybe get a guy later like that fits that mold, a la Latavius Murphy. There's a guy. I know Chris from Protect the Shield talks about him all the time. 805 Raider talks about him. Rundown talks about him all the time. But dude from Michigan, Khalil Mullings, he's a guy that, you know what? I told him I talked to you about him too, and you was like, yeah. 7? I was like, you was like, you from Michigan?
Yeah.
Michigan.
I think you were like, is it number 7 or?
I don't remember.
I might get the numbers wrong.
I don't remember a number yet. But you're from Michigan. Dude from Michigan.
Right.
He's a dude that's you know what? Big back. I think he's a guy that he's gonna probably be drafted later on. You pair him with a guy like Travion, you good.
Shout out to ECG in the chat. Appreciate him coming through. We had him on a last show. Make sure to check it out on Around the Shield. he mentioned a guy that would be like he compared him to beast mode, a guy that he's super physical, Damon Martinez.
Yeah, from what you call it? From Miami. Yeah, he played at Oregon State. Yeah, he's super physical. He played at Oregon State before he went to Miami. But yeah, super physical guy.
So just speaking to your point, speaking to your point about like pairing a guy that's physical to Darren McFadden and Michael Bush. You know what I mean? Like if you want to, you know, I'm not mad at that. That's what I want. But then now I'm like, we got a lot of holes, man. We got a lot of holes. Slot corner. You can make an argument even outside corner. You can make an argument like meaning that like the Raiders are going to have to address that position next season, and maybe they don't want to pay Jack Jones, who's up for, you know he's going to be a free agent next year. Maybe they get a guy at some point in the draft. So what I'm saying is that like, you know, a guy like Pete Carroll, he's not afraid to draft, or he's been a part of a team where they've drafted late on corners, 4th, 5th round or whatever. So if you're thinking if the Raiders are going to draft a corner in this year's draft, like as far as the value in getting a corner later in the round, then you got to think about, all right, linebacker. You got to think about are we even going to? I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even think that we're going to draft a quarterback. There's a good chance we're going to draft a quarterback, bro.
I mean,
if we do, if we do, it's not going to be what we think is who we think it's going to be. Because a lot of people are like, you know, the Jalen Milroe or the Jackson Darts or the Will Howards or whatever. It's going to be later. It might be because I think they feel good about Geno. There's a chance they feel good about Geno right now. They'd be like, you know what, we could draft a QB, you know, next year. Yeah. Which is crazy to say because that's what the last regime did. That's what you know, Telesco and you know. Yeah.
But that was, you know, that's not fair. That's totally different.
I mean, Gardner, they felt good. Telesco felt good about Minshew and Aiden O'Connell in the room to not draft the QB. That is wild. Like, and I don't think he's ever going to be a GM after. I'll be honest. Exactly. Not to say that he did a bad job with the Raiders. It's just, whew. Like I think it's rare for like GMs to get a second go around at GM too, like to get another opportunity. And he got that with the Raiders. So to get a third opportunity, that'd be crazy.
Like immediately, like I can see. I'm sure there's some guys that like, you know, got a job and then worked their way back up. You know, like we see Reggie McKenzie probably on the way to working his way back up. It's taking him a long time, but he's working his way up personnel departments, and he'll probably get a shot again sometime in the future. But generally, like he got fired and got another job the very next year. That never happens. Never.
Yeah. So you know, you mentioned slot corner. I think you can make an argument with you might say that the slot corner might be a better value just because, you know, we got to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes and all these quarterbacks. It's a passing league. I get it. But like running back, just our running back room is just, it is ugly. But yeah, man. Hey, look, and that just speaks to what I said earlier, man. We got a lot of holes, man. We got a lot of needs, and I know that we're supposed to we're supposed to go best player available, but at some point, the Raiders are going to draft for need. Especially in the later rounds. I feel like teams kind of draft for need in the later rounds. They're going to be like, all right, we need to grab a corner here. We need to grab whoever. But yeah, man. But also, you know, like I said earlier, the Raiders and the NFL had the annual meeting this year, obviously with the coaches taking the pictures and all that type of stuff, and they had rule changes. And one of the rule changes in the regular season was I'm trying to think of
overtime.
The overtime rules match the playoffs pretty much. They kept it at 10 minutes. The playoffs is 15 minutes, but now each team will have guaranteed they'll have an opportunity to score. So if a team scores, they'll have another opportunity. Before it was like if the team scores a touchdown, it's game over. But if they kicked a field goal, the other team would have a chance to score, and then the next score would win the game. But if let's say, for example, let's say if the team takes most of overtime to score that first touchdown is game over.
Basically.
They're not gonna continue to. They're not gonna give the opportunity. They're not gonna try to give the opportunity to the other team to score. It's like, hey, look, you let the team kill the clock, and you lose. So it's just they're not gonna give you an opportunity to score. But they also are moving to the digital era as far as, like they're gonna be using to mark like the first downs and things like that. Like it's a whole. What do you think? You think that's a big positive that they're getting rid of human error, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a positive. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. How they track when the guy's knee touched the ground, where the ball was when their knee touched the ground, or when another of the part of their body touched the ground. Like, it's gonna be interesting to see how all that is interpreted through the electronic tracking. But I think you could kind of moving into the future as you said. It's still gonna be controversy no matter what. No matter what, there's still gonna be controversy around it. But I think they're doing their best to eliminate human error, and I think that's a positive. You always want to be moving forward.
Yeah, man, we got some people that need to go, man. They gotta go.
Oh yes.
They got to go. They got to go. But yeah, no surprises. I know that Detroit, they requested to have they had an idea of like basically reseeding the playoffs. So once like the playoffs begin, they'll like reseed it. Like, I'm guessing that for the best team with the best record to get seeded. And I think they've tabled that. So meaning that they're gonna have another meeting, I think in May or something like that. They're gonna have it, and they're gonna try to vote for it then. And this one, I don't know how you feel about it, but they also disputed first downs for defensive holding and illegal contact, making it automatic first downs. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely want to do the reseeding. I think that's definitely because you got some teams that's in trash divisions that are getting like home playoff games against teams that had better records than them. I know it's a divisional thing, but I'll prefer it. You know what? The team with the better record should have home field advantage. That they've done it through the year. That they've won more games than the other team. I think they deserve to have home field advantage. With the eliminating first downs for defensive holding and illegal contact, that one's kind of you know what? I'm 50-50 on that. I am 50-50 on that one, man. Shout out, because there's definitely situations where, if a guy wasn't held, he probably would get a first down on that particular play. But there are so many times where it's a defensive holding and it's away from the play, or it's illegal contact and it's away from the play, and essentially has no impact on the outcome of the play. And teams are getting first downs off that stuff. So I kind of go back and forth. I'm okay with them. I'm okay with them sticking with the automatic first down. But like I said, there's lots of situations where I don't think a first down is necessarily worthy of the transgression.
Yeah, man. This chat is going crazy. I'm trying to get it together here. Let's see here, man.
Yeah, I see some wild stuff in the chat.
Yeah, man. I had to snipe some people real quick.
Man,
crazy. It's been a crazy show. But yeah, man. Let's get back to it, man. But actually, I guess we can easily transition to. I don't know. Before we even get into that, we didn't even talk about Spytek. I know we were like kind of like, oh man, Pete Carroll really didn't say too much. But I feel like Spytek, he's a better interview. I think someone in the chat also mentioned this. I think Space Beast, man, shout out to you. You mentioned that. Yeah, I agree, man. I think Spytek is a lot more interesting to listen to as far as the nuggets that he'll give you and what he said. I think he's new. He's new at GM, so he's just gonna go to what he knows, and he's just gonna be honest. He's not gonna say obviously what the Raiders are gonna do at a certain spot, or he's not gonna give away some moves. But sometimes he can't help but let you know his thought process on how he comes to a certain decision. And when he breaks it down like that, it kind of gives you an idea of who he's going to pick at a certain spot, or what type of player he's going to sign, or what type of player he wants in the building. So I thought that was interesting. And I think recently he sat down with Raiders media. I think they had like a podcast. Shout out to them. And it was kind of interesting how he talked about certain players and how he viewed them. And Alex Kappa, he views him as a starter.
Yeah, he did.
And he views him as a starter, and he mentioned that, like, a guy like Tristan Wirfs, left, all pro left tackle. Is he left tackle at this point, or is he right? I know he switched sides, but he mentioned how much a guy like Alex Kappa helped him out as a young offensive lineman, and he mentioned how Alex Kappa can help a JPJ, as he kind of like matures and gets better at his position. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and they're really high on Eric Stokes too. The corner that we picked up from the low risk high reward move, man. I think they really like him. Former first round pick. They're high on him, man. We'll see. It was a lot of like saying all the right things, but it was kind of interesting that what he was saying as far as, and we'll get into some of the things that he said later in the show as far as quotes. But what was your take overall from what Spytek was able to tell?
Yes, he has some interesting things to say. Not only about he talked about the guards, about like all four of those guys are going to compete for guard, and how three of them, Meredith, Parham, and JPJ, they all have experience at center. So I think he kind of said that JPJ was the guy at center. But he was saying, hey, all four of those guys are competing there. Then I think he was asked about Glaze at right tackle, and he said, essentially, he was like, hey, right now he is, but, we still had to draft. And, he said he loved drafting offensive linemen. So, could a right tackle be a guy we take in the draft? That's a possibility. I know he was asked about the Colton Miller contract. And it was interesting from that. I almost clipped this because he was extremely non-committal in regards to Colton Miller. Extremely non-committal. He's like, oh, you know what? We'll see. Sometimes he's basically saying, hey, sometimes you gotta let these dudes test free agency and see what their value is, and sometimes they come back in. So it was real not. And I don't remember him being that way about Max. Right? He was much more gung-ho in regards to Max Crosby than he has been about Colton Miller. So that's something that kind of like perked my ears up, like, okay, like what are you trying to do here? Because dude, don't play around with, like, he wasn't here for them years. We didn't have no left tackle, bro. So like that's not a position you play around with. And Colton Miller been holding down that left side for a long time and doing it really pretty well. So it's interesting to see what his thoughts were there. But yeah, he was much more engaging, in my opinion, in Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, he has that charm, and he's the old guy that's been doing it a long time, so people listen to him. But it wasn't really interesting. With Spytek, what he was talking about, I was extremely interested in what he was saying, and I actually got something from it.
Yeah, that makes me think too, because expect the unexpected with the Raiders. You think they're going to go right, but they're going to go left. And I feel like, you saying that and mentioning that was a good point. Makes you think they could easily go offensive line early. They could easily go offensive line early, whether you like it or not, or if they trade down and maybe grab a guy, like they could easily.
I'd be cool with that. If we take offensive lineman at 6, bro, bro, you're going to be – yeah, we take offensive line at 6, I'm going to be pissed. But if we trade down and build, I don't mind.
And I think that's the goal. I think they want to trade down because there's a lot of smoke. A lot of smoke. And we'll get into that. We'll get into that conversation, man. But Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Let's see here, man. Hey, appreciate you, Daniel Kim, man, holding it down. Mods, you know what? I'm gonna give someone a wrench, man. I'm gonna have to give someone a wrench. I got you. Let's see here, man.
Yeah, like I said, that's interesting. I mean, because he's thing about Spytek is he's drafted offensive line well in the past. So like, if we trade back and take offensive line, I wouldn't mind that. If we do some stupid stuff like take Membo at 6, I am totally off the Spytek train, bro. If we trade back to like the teams and take Membo, I'm cool with that. Or trade back to like the teams and take Kelvin Banks, I'm cool with that. If we do some stuff like take either one of those guys at 6, bro. Neither one of those guys are ready at 6. Neither one of them. And that's not. And really, there's not a guy in this draft I would take at 6 at offensive line. Like Will Campbell is the highest, and I wouldn't feel comfortable with taking him at 6. So there's not a guy. None of those guys I would take in the top 10. To be honest with you, you trade outside the top 10 and take one of those guys, I'm a lot more comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's fair. But look, I think they really want to trade down. Because
definitely,
it's so obvious. But we'll save it for later, just because we got some quotes lined up that's pretty interesting. But I think they really want to trade down because it's a lot. It's too much smoke. Like there's too many. It's too obvious. Like everybody's talking about it. Everybody's saying we're gonna do this. It's like, man, when you think that, then that's exactly what they want, and obviously they want other teams to believe that. So then they come calling and, oh yeah, you're willing to give us your second round and whatever picks you got. There goes a trade down. But yeah, man, let's move it along, man. Let's go to flag on the play.
Personal foul, 69. Offense. He was giving them the business.
So this week on Flag on Play, we got a couple of flags on play, and we just recently talked about like NFL rule changes, this and a third, and one of the rule changes that was up for possible, they actually technically from reports they did vote on it, but they tabled it, so they're gonna actually officially vote for it on, I guess, maybe another date, a later date. And I believe they said May or something like that. And this is the touch push, the play that is, made famous by, the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, and, for whatever reason, teams like the Packers, who I think were the first team to really have a problem with it. I think that was like the early reports. The Packers had an issue with it, but it's not surprising because the Packers keep losing against the Eagles. But the recent report said 16 teams were against it. They wanted to get rid of the play. But another 16, obviously the other 16 was like, they didn't have an issue with it. Now this got to be a flag, man. I think, man, at the end of the day, like if you got to figure out a way to beat the play. Why are you trying to take it away out the game? And I think they're trying to say, oh well, it's not a safe play. It's not a safe play, and da 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 da. And what's crazy about it is there's no evidence saying that it's unsafe. They're just saying, oh well, and I'm gonna go ahead and play a quote here by the head coach for the Bills because he's against it. Sean McDermott he's against it, which is interesting because the Bills are another team that uses that play with Josh Allen. They're not as good, but for whatever reason, he's saying, well, it's not a safe play if you think about it. It's a lot of Well, I'll go ahead and play the clip real quick. Let's see here. But what's your take on it, Severe, as far as banning the play?
Yeah, man, that's weak. It's super weak, man. As you said, it's line it up, right? Stop me from doing it. If you don't like me doing the play, line it up and stop me from doing it. I don't want to hear about what's safe and what's not safe because, as you said, if you don't have the data to back that up, I don't want to hear about it. So if you have an issue with this play, line it up and stop me. If you can't line up and stop me, then stop complaining because I'm going to keep running it. and it's gonna keep working. So nobody was complaining when Tom Brady was doing it. Tom Brady has like 99% success rate on quarterback sneaks. Nobody was like, you know what? I don't know about Tom Brady on these sneaks. We gotta stop Tom Brady from doing these sneaks, right? Like nobody said it then, but now we got the Eagles, and some things I could say, but when we got the Eagles doing it, Jalen Hurts doing it, all of a sudden now it's a problem. So I don't want to hear it, bro. You got an issue with it, stop it. If you can't stop it, then shut up.
Got it. Yeah, no, facts, 100%. I agree. Even head coach the Texans, he made a good point by saying that it's crazy to ban a play that one team is good at. Like, they're literally targeting the team, and I think Raider fans should relate to this. Is that like this could easily be the Raiders? The Raiders could and what would we be saying? Oh man, like the league is against the Raiders. They're trying to stop Raiders from being successful. So I don't even want to see this competitively. I wouldn't want to see it happen. But here's what Sean McDermott had to say.
They pick and choose the players they want to target. Like I said, if it was Tom Brady or Peyton Manning doing it, because those are like faces of the league. Like Jalen Hurts is not a face of the league type player. So if we can target you because you're not one of the upper echelon quarterbacks, we're gonna go after you. They're not gonna do it if it's Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, or they're not gonna do it to one of those guys. Like, it's weak. It's weak.
Yeah. Well, here goes Sean McDermott and why he thinks they should get rid of it.
Similar to how I felt at the combine, I've dove deeper into more of the data on it, and just thought more about it as well. And my position hasn't really changed at all. I feel where I'm most concerned is even though there's not significant data out there to this point, my biggest concern is the health and safety of the players, first and foremost.
What are you seeing with the health and safety of the players?
You just said he says I've been looking at the data, and then he the little 10 seconds later, even though there's not a lot of data on this, I'm like, what the hell? You don't even know what you're saying.
Lying.
Yeah, I think anytime you get in, it's two things. It's force, added force, number one, and then the posture of the players. Being asked to execute that type of play, that's where my concern comes in.
Do you think you'll continue to run the play if it remains and you have concerns about the safety? Do you think you'll continue to run it? Because I think you ran it quite a bit last week.
A form of it, right? A form of it. So I think it's a loose term, really, in terms of what defines a tush push. So
that name is just
so there's different forms
that name
out
is
there.
Wild.
One of the teams that people
I struggled to say
it
earlier too. I was like,
that's fair.
Tush.
There's other teams as well. So I just look. We're gonna always act in a way that's best for the health and safety of the players, and I think that's the responsible way to go.
Yeah, man. It's a whole bunch of just. To be honest with you, I don't see why a guy like Sean McDermott would even, because he uses the play. He uses the play with Josh Allen, especially a guy like Josh Allen. He wasn't as successful as Jalen Hurts, but it is what it is.
Exactly.
But,
if he had, this is like a. You know what this is like? This is like well, I don't know if the chat gonna get this. This is like Drake. How Drake was like, how Drake like sued UMG, like they using bots over there to like what, like you using bots, but your bots didn't win you the battle. These other bots that you said the other team was using, they won the battle. So that's why you complain. That's why you go into the league about it. If you had a 99% success rate on this play, like the Eagles had, or you had the same success rate, you wouldn't be saying nothing. You'd be quiet as a mouse, running that play. It wouldn't be about, no, I'm looking into the data. He looked at the data and saw like, damn, we suck at this. Like we gotta get this out the league. Like that's the data he saw. Like, yeah, we ain't no good at this play. We gotta stop it because we could potentially see this team in the Super Bowl. So let's make sure they can't run this against us if we ever see them in that type of situation.
That's a good point. Like they're thinking chess. Like, all right, we got to make. There's only one team that's great at doing this, and that's the Eagles, and they just won a Super Bowl. So let's let's make them weaker. You know what I mean? Let's team. But it's like, man, that is.
But they can't even beat the Chiefs. They need to be worried about. Hey, they need to be trying to figure out to do something with Andy. They need to figure out to do something with. Check out the data on Andy Reid whooping your ass in the playoffs. Look at that data. Have some concern about that, because that's the only data you should be focused on.
100%, man. They for sure. They need to focus on winning in the playoffs, specifically against the Chiefs. Now, facts, 100%. They almost did though, but almost doesn't count. Almost doesn't count.
Almost only horseshoes and hand grenades, as they say.
Right, man. But that's not the only flag on the play that we got. It's not the only flag on the play, and this is gonna definitely be Raider related. And I don't know. I'm not sure if anybody would really cares, but you know, hey, look, for the Northern California, you know, Raider fans or Raider fans in California who had plans to go to Napa and watch the Raiders in training camp and all that good stuff. I guess you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for something like that to happen. They couldn't make it happen. So according to reports, I think they checked in with like Mark Davis and during the annual meeting, owners' annual meeting, they found out that like the Raiders going to Napa is not happening. You know, so. Flag on the play because you got our hopes up, man. I was thinking that they were going to come back to California again. You know, they out there in Vegas. They went to SoCal last year. I thought they were going to, you know, go to North. Man, I thought it was going to be a nice little return. But I think, in my opinion, it's a flag on the play because did they really look? Did they really? Was it really going to happen? Were they really going to go to? Did they make an attempt?
Exactly. I look on X, and when I saw the tweet from Vic Tafur, I flat out, he's the one that reported. He's the first one that reported it, as far as I know, that the Raiders weren't going to be going to Napa. My question was, you know, they tried, but they couldn't get it done. I was like, well, my question was, did they really try, or did they get some half-hearted effort and just, you know, try to pay lip service to the fans saying this is something they were going to do, and they like made a call like, oh, you know, what is this? Oh, it's not okay. Well, whatever, right? Like how hard did they really try? I don't know. And Vic Tafur never answered that question. So, like I said, man, I just think this is one of those situations where I don't want to go back to the whole Pete Carroll thing, but like these dudes, they're reading from the handbook of things you do to endear a fan base to you. You play on the nostalgia, like, oh, Pete Carroll was, oh man, you know, I grew up in the Bay Area and I was a Raiders fan. You know, I was a 49ers fan till I saw the Raiders, and then, you know, I was like, really? Because, you know, the Raiders' first season, they was like they won 2 games. So like you saw that and was like, hey, you know what? I'm a fan. Like, I don't believe you. I think you're just saying stuff to make the fans like you. Just like you said, oh, you know what? We're gonna take the team back to Napa. You know, that's what the Raiders are putting out. I think they're just doing stuff to endear the fan base back to the team, just because they had such poor attendance last year. They're trying to bring up the fan morale. They're trying to pull on these nostalgic heartstrings. And then, it's like, and then when it doesn't work, like, oh, you know what? We gave it the good old college try, and we just couldn't do it. You know, they just didn't want it to happen. But we did our best. Like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you, because if you can make it work in Chargers country, why can't you make it work in the place that you held your training camp for decades? Like, why couldn't you make that work? Or somewhere in that general, maybe not at that exact location, but somewhere in that general area. Why couldn't you make it work at anywhere up there logistically? I'm sure there are other locales you can use. You have the money, bro. You just made like $225 million off selling a portion of the team. Like, so money is not an object. So if you really wanted this to happen, like, money talks and BS walks, as they say. You got plenty of the money part. So if you wanted that to happen, make it happen. I just think you're just playing on what you think the fans want to hear. You're trying to re-engage the Oakland and the Bay Area fans back to the team, but you have really had no intention of ever really doing it. Like, it's BS in my opinion. But I can see it. I can see it.
I don't think they planned for it. I think it was just an idea that was thrown out. and it was thrown out like in the off season, like after the season, and they're like, oh yeah, Napa, whatever. But I don't think they planned for it. And when you don't plan for something, there's gonna be a little bit of like something unexpected happening, like, you know, like, hey, it not working out. So if they planned ahead accordingly, like, hey, like let's say the following year, which is crazy to say, but it feels like they didn't plan to go to Napa. Like they announced, they kind of like, they had like the, you know, the guys that, you know, that we heard it from like Vinny and the Tafers, and like we heard that, oh, Napa could be a good possibility, but I felt like they just didn't plan for it. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it's not happening. We're probably going to hear more about it like as time goes on, but you know, it's not a huge deal, but it's just like, yeah, man, I wish they were able to make it happen. But I wonder where they're going to hold training camp now. Are they going to go back to Southern California? Are they going to, because the reason why they're going to California, because Vegas is extremely hot. And for them to go to like, you know, anywhere else outside of Vegas, I think would be a big win for them, because I know that they don't want to wake up at like what time was Gruden waking up? Like what, at 6 a.m. for it to be like 80 degrees outside? Like that's how hot it gets in Vegas. Like at 6 a.m. it's still like almost 100 degrees. So they're trying to get away from that heat. So if it's not going to be Napa, if it's not going to be something, where is it going to be? But you know, that's something that they're going to have to figure out. But yeah, it is kind of disappointing. It's disappointing. That's we giving a flag, but it's more so we're just disappointed that they weren't able to follow through on them making it happen at Napa. But yeah,
it's a flag, because if it's like that's what people try to give that excuse. So, oh well, you know what, we're gonna give it a try. Like if it's something you can't, like, don't make promises you can't deliver. Like don't be out here getting people hopes up when you know there's a very, like I said, that's why I said it was them playing people.
Did they formally announce it though? They didn't formally announce it.
But they said, but if you're going to try to do it behind the scenes, and when it happens, just at that point you announce it. Right. Don't say, "Oh, this is what we're going to do. We have every intent." I think his words were, "We have every intention of doing it." Well, you can have intentions are well in, like what did Samuel L. Jackson say? Oh, you said something about intentions. Like, I don't care about your intentions. What can you do? So if you knew it was going to be a long shot, don't say this is what we're going to do or this is what we're trying to do. Just try to do it. And if it happens, it happens. If not, at that point, no harm, no foul. But like I said, it was a situation where they're trying to play on the nostalgia of this fan base. So this fan base is very nostalgic, and training camp in Napa is one of those things that the fan base loves, because it was, you know, a lot of fans have memories, connected them to that site, to that area. So like they love it there. So like I said, if you knew it was a long shot, because like you said, all this logistical stuff, you knew it was going to be late in the process, or you know, then don't say that's what you're planning on doing it, right? Don't get out in front of your skis. And this is something that Pete Carroll, bro, you've been a coach since the 70s. You should know this. So the fact that you were the first one to say it, like, don't do it, bro. You should know better than that.
Oh, it came from Pete Carroll.
He said it. He said it at his press conference.
Damn. Yeah, that they spoke too soon. But yeah, definitely flag on a play on the Raiders. Speaking too soon. Got our hopes up, but you know, it is what it is. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. We're going live on both our channels, so if you haven't subscribed to both, man, make sure to go ahead and do so. Make sure to hit the like button. But going back to people making some good. Teddy, great point. I noticed that too. Spytek mentioned JPJ when talking about our guards. Maybe he's playing left guard. Parham and Kappa battle for right guard, and we draft a center to start in the third. It's possible, or maybe Parham starts at center, and then you got JPJ at guard. Kappa, and the thing about Alex Kappa, like, man, they look at him as a starter, but he hasn't played well as of recent. So I don't know. They feel pretty good about him. For him, for Spytek to literally say we view him as a starter. So. But yeah, we'll see. But Arnie says, what is your trust level in Spytek as a rookie GM? Cautiously optimistic. That's probably the best way I could describe just the Raiders. Just if you just replace Spytek with Raiders, how do I my trust level with the Raiders? It's cautiously optimistic. You know, that's the way I look at it. Every offseason.
I probably have more optimism in Spytek as a GM than I do at the Raiders at this point. At the Raiders, I'm just like, yo, know what? Whatever happens. I'm just along for the ride. I'm along for the ride at this point.
I don't know, man. Everything he says all the right things.
Yeah.
He makes it think like, man, like maybe this is the guy. Because if you could find a good GM, man, the Raiders are almost guaranteed to be good. Like literally, at the very least, have a really good roster, because a GM's able to put that together. At the end of the day, you know, you have to find the right coach and you know, quarterback and all that stuff. But like a big piece to having a really good team is having a guy in the front office that's able to like draft well and sign players and stuff like that. So he says all the right things, man. And the way the Raiders have kind of handled the offseason so far is pretty smart. I mean, we didn't overpay for anybody. I felt like they kind of went into it. Maybe that was a little bit Pete Carroll maybe another thing that Pete Carroll made because you're low-key kind of calling out Pete Carroll when you say that he was the one that brought out the Napa.
He was.
Yeah, and if you remember how Pete Carroll was addressing the presser, he kind of was like, "Hey, I'm here to win now." You know what I mean? There's no time for me to wait. So we're gonna, and he, you know, if you remember that moment go ahead.
Now I was saying, but that's my issue, because they moved the goalposts. Like I said, he said he was a 49ers fan, and then he was a Raiders fan. Like I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Then he said, oh, he's here to win now, and then there's we know what, we think it's a 2 to 3 year process. Like, well, that ain't like that's not now. That's like in 2 to 3 years. Like when I'm thinking now, I'm thinking, bro, like this year. So then they started moving the goalposts on that, and now it's the Napa thing. Oh, we have every intention of having training camp in Napa, and now now we can't do it. Now it's like a 90% chance that they're going to be back in Vegas, because they only had that Costa Mesa site for 1 year, and unless the Chargers decide to relinquish their rights on it, because you know the Chargers only gave it up for that 1 year because the Chargers were having their training camp at their new facility. So the Chargers now they have control back over that site. So the Raiders can't even go back there. So now, you know, they're kind of left holding the bag. So they're probably going to be back in Vegas. So it's like I said, it's a whole bunch of inconsistencies from people that are supposed to be the professionals in the room. They're supposed to be the people that have all this stuff locked down, supposed to be the experienced people. But why are we having all these missteps or these miscalculations? Like, I don't know. I just like I said, these are supposed to be the professionals.
Right. And I brought up Pete Carroll because he also, I feel like he created an expectation of like the Raiders are trying to win now, but the way the offseason is going, it just feels like rebuild, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with rebuild. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm okay.
Cool with that too.
I'm okay with a rebuild because I'm tired of reload. Reload doesn't work. Reload doesn't work when you don't have a quarterback. Reload doesn't work when you don't have an offensive line. Reload doesn't work when you got holes all over your roster. It doesn't work. So I'm okay with the rebuild. But what I'm not okay with, and the Raiders do this a lot, is they create high expectations for no reason. Like just say it's a rebuild. Like just say it in a different way. You know what I mean? I know they don't want to say, oh, it's a rebuild, but they're going to be like, you know what, we're trying. And I think Spytek is kind of saying it too. Like if you hear him saying like we're trying to build it the right way, we're trying to build it for long-term success. I'm okay with that.
I'm cool okay with that. Yeah. I'm good with that, bro. I don't expect you to turn this chicken S into chicken salad. I don't expect that, bro. Like right. I don't expect that at all. Like, hey, if we got to be, bro, we've been waiting since 2002 for a good team, bro. I can wait another year. Like, if that's what you telling me it's gonna take, bro. Hey, just be real with me. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Like that's, hey, you like, know what? This is we understand the situation right now. But we're gonna go out there. We're gonna compete every day. But we understand there's been a lot of turnover on this roster. We're trying to implement a new system with a new coaching staff, and there's going to be some growing pains. But what I can guarantee is that every day we're going to bring it. And we're going to play. We're going to get back to playing tough, hard-nosed Raiders football, the football that you guys love to see. And we're going to leave it all out on the field and let the results fall where they may. But we're not going to, if we win or lose, it's not going to be for lack of effort. Like, tell me that. Don't say we're going to win now. Like, bro, you're not going to win now.
Yeah. Because when you create that high expectation, then, like, you kind of set yourself up to have everybody disappointed. The fan base disappointed. Everybody is going to be. So if you just kind of lower the expectations because that, it's going to be a rebuild. And, man, shout out, before we even move on, man, shout out to Two Stock, man, with the super chat. My guy says, what free agent moves would you make before the draft? Wide receiver. I think they can probably add Elijah Moore. Last show, I know this might be another unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna say it. I'm okay with an Amari Cooper. I'm okay with it. Man. Look, it's a business. If he fits a role, if he fits a need, he's an outside receiver. Man, he's a route runner. He's always been known as a route runner. Does he still got a little speed to him? Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at it. I understand that. He was a little too happy when he left the Raiders. I understand that. But I don't look at him in the same way that I look maybe at Devontae Adams, where like there's no way that he can come back to the Raiders just the way he left. It was out of his control as far as like it was. I want to say it was unexpected, but he got traded from the Raiders to Dallas. It wasn't like him demanding to be traded. John Gruden and that front office traded him for a first-round pick. So if the Raiders can get him, I wouldn't mind it. And then I still would address the receiver position in the draft if they can, but it gives them a little bit of flexibility where they don't have to force a pick. They don't have, because like I said, the Raiders have a lot of holes. So I would address the receiver position. I think Amari Cooper would be a nice pickup. You said Elijah Moore, would be a nice pickup.
I'm good on Cooper. I'm just good on Cooper, man. I'm good on Cooper. Mike Hilton. If
you don't think he'd be an effective player, you don't think he could be a good player?
I think he was with the Browns, who needed help at wide receiver, and he really couldn't be an effective player last year. Then he was traded to the Bills, where they needed, they needed a number one receiver because Keon Coleman didn't develop into that. They lost Stephon Diggs. Khalil Shakir was their best receiver, and
they paid
couldn't
him.
do anything, huh? And he couldn't do anything, and he couldn't do anything there either. And so it's like, and he had a damn good quarterback there too. So it's not like it's like, okay, what are you expecting to do? But Cleveland is like, okay, come on, it's the quarterback. But you go to the Bills, like, or you can't say, oh, you ain't got no quarterback. Like, it's so at that point it's like, at that point it's you. So
I don't know. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And I think he had like issue with drops. I think, man, I thought
he's always had issue with drops.
It's crazy though. It never went away. It never went away. But I wouldn't mind Amari Cooper. I just think that at the end of the day, like if a receiver is going to another team in the middle of the season, it's gonna be tough for him to be effective. Like it's because it's a timing thing, it's a chemistry thing, it's a playbook thing. Like it's so many things that can go against you. I understand like you're expecting him to, but like the way they looked at it, Bills was like, if it works out, okay, we got a guy that can run route, that could probably run certain routes. I'm sure they kept it simple for him to, for him to be successful there. But at the end of the day, they paid Shakur. They already drafted a Keon Coleman. They're going cheap at that position. They're probably going to try they gave Josh Allen a whole bunch of money. So the Bills kind of like they're prioritizing who they feel like is going to be there for the long term. I think they looked at Amari Cooper as a temporary fix. I don't know what was the draft compensation for Amari Cooper for the Bills.
It's something cheap, fifth or sixth.
They're like it was for them. It was like a low risk, high reward move. They're trying to make a Super Bowl run. Low risk, high reward move. It didn't work out, and they paid the right people.
But I think the thing is, like, not like I don't think Amari Cooper is gonna break the bank. If he's somebody they feel can contribute to the team, he's already been there basically most of the season. Like at that point, no, hey, if you thought there was some upward mobility there, even from this year to next, where it's like, okay, now we have him in our system, we got him our entire offseason program, we can build something from there. Okay, now we're gonna see what he can really do. But they're like, nah, we're good. Good. Best of luck to you, right?
Right.
And I don't even think they've even tried to bring him back. So that's why I'm like, like I said, I don't like that thing that kind of has run its course here. I'm cool. Like if we sign him to like a super cheap like a veteran minimum deal, okay, hey, know what? That's cool. I'm good with that. But if we sign him for anything more than that, I'm like, all right, I don't know about that. Because I don't know how effective he's gonna be.
Right. Well, yeah, it depends on what he's going to get compensated. But I feel like if it's a 1-year deal, the Raiders have plenty of money right now. I mean, we'll see how that Geno deal is, which hasn't been signed yet. We've been told that it's been being worked on. But it is what it is. We'll see how it shakes out. But for me, Amari Cooper, you got Elijah Moore, so we both can agree with receiver. It's probably like a
bro. You just talking about how he got body slammed, bro. You can't talk about like your first game.
1-year deal. 1-year deal.
Like,
he's all right. All right. So okay. So just to give context. We're talking about what's T-Mac. We're talking about T-Mac.
Yeah.
And recently Steve Smith broke down the receiver. And he pretty much was saying that T-Mac is a finesse, big receiver. And then he, the way he kind of critiqued him, he didn't say it, but in his critiques, he was saying that like, hey, like he mentally checks out when you get up, when you're super physical with him or you take him out the game or the game's not going his way or he's not getting the ball, he's checked out. And he mentioned he says this because he's been there. He's done that. Like he's been in those types of situations. But he notices a lot with T-Mac. I mean, pretty much saying he's kind of mentally, he's kind of soft. Mentally, God, my mind's like you're saying like he's kind of soft a little bit because you're saying that you could take him out easily by being physical with him or whatever, right? And I was like, Amari Cooper was a guy that used to get taken out the game by physical corners. His first game against Pac-Man Jones. But look, I'm saying Amari Cooper just based off a 1-year deal. I'm not saying give him like a 10-year, 5-year, 6-year, 3-year. Give him a 1-year deal. Right now, we got so many different needs. And, shout out to Two Stock. He said, what free agent move would you make right now? We have a need at outside receiver. And if we could get Amari Cooper, I wouldn't be mad at it. I feel like it would fit low key because you got a little speed compared to Jacoby Myers. I feel like he got a lot more speed compared to Jacoby Myers.
Probably
low key. I don't know if he's a deep threat at this point, but he's a route runner. Chip Kelly likes a route runner. Yeah. A blocker, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't really say like 100%. I don't know if that's what Chip Kelly's looking for, but look, I'm just saying like that. Amari Cooper fits. He fits. I feel like he would fit with the receivers that we already have. He fits.
The look you got like.
Look, because what you're trying to say is Elijah Moore is a guy that's young and da. Yeah, I get that, but like, what has he done with the Browns and what has he done with the Jets? What has he done and shown you that would elicit for you to give him? Because at the end of the day, like what I'm saying is we're gonna draft a guy. That's not gonna stop the Raiders from drafting a guy. It's just gonna give them flexibility to be like, you know what, best player available at number 6 or trade down and best player available there. So if it's a T-Mac, hey, still take a T-Mac. If it's this guy, then you go. But we have an outside receiver right now. We don't have that right now. We have a lot of inexperience, and we got a. I'm just saying. I feel like Amari Cooper fits that role, but what you got to say, man? Talk your shit.
I was say nah. I was just thinking. It's like nah. It's Amari Cooper. Like, I don't see like we trying to build a team full of dogs and full of tough, hard nosed players, and like first like like Amari Cooper. Like, nah, bro, I don't think he's one of the dudes that's like, I don't think he fits the mold, bro. I just don't think he fits the mold. Even with Elijah Moore, I think Elijah Moore, that's like hey, we take a flyer on a young guy, right? Take a flyer on a young guy. I think he has more juice. I think he has a little bit more speed and a little bit more like he's a little bit more dynamic, especially at this point in his career. Like, you take a flyer on a guy like that, who a lot of people loved when he was coming out of Ole Miss, right? A lot of people loved him. So I think you take a chance on that. I think, like, if you get something, you hit something there, okay, now you got a guy that you can possibly bring back. Amari Cooper is 31 years old. Like, I'm cool. Because that's why, like, I was thinking about, like, Mike Hilton is a guy. Like, you know what? If you're looking at a nickel corner, he's a guy that's been a good nickel corner in the league for a long time. But he's 31 years old, too. So I was like, hey, I kind of like Mike Hilton as a player. But, like, you know what? He's 31 years old. Like, you almost better off going young because, you got a little bit more, hey, if the guy hits, then, all right, now I got a guy in the organization. Another guy is Jedrick Wills. He's injury prone. He's a guy that, he's starter in the league at tackle. If you want to push Glaze, at a little bit competition, maybe that's a guy you take a flyer on. I think he's better than Thayer.
What's his issue? Why is he still available?
Injuries. He's just always injured. He's always injured. But so that's a guy. Maybe you take a look at him. Just like I said, competition at tackle. Because when Spytek was asked about right tackle, he didn't even mention Thayer. He didn't mention Thayer. Is Thayer still with I think Thayer's still with the team. Like, he's like, yeah, we got DJ Glaze in. Are we gonna draft a guy? Like, he didn't say Thayer at all. Right. Like, he was like at all. Right. So apparently he don't got a whole lot of faith in Thayer Munford. I never did. And this is well documented. I've been saying this for a long time. When people told me he was gonna be the next guy, I was saying he's not any good. He's never gonna be a starter in the league, and people thought I was wrong about that.
Trade him for the quarterback out there for the Patriots, backup QB. Josh McDaniels might win his offensive lineman. You know what I mean? He's familiar with him, so he might.
Old boy, man, from Tennessee, dang, Joe Milton.
Yeah.
Hey, I try to trade. Hey, package Thayer, Zamir, and Michael Mayer for Joe Milton. see if they'll take it.
That's too much, though. That's too much. Because that's too much.
Michael Mayer's too much.
If you throw Joe Milton in a draft pick, like, they're not gonna do that.
He had to be like a 6 though, because they're not gonna give up much more than that.
Yeah. Well, then we got like 3 6-round picks.
Right, true. We got 3. Yeah, so hey, take a flyer on it.
Shout out to Two Stock again with another haymaker, man. Super chat. Appreciate you coming through and supporting the show, man. He says Gruden was the last head coach to be loyal to the fans. He was a fan like us. Bad drafts and all, he still had us winning games.
He did have some games.
Technically, but I feel like Raider fans, just fans overall, sometimes we have revisionist history. Yeah, man, because like
the first few years with Gruden was rough.
Yeah. First of all, his first season he went 4-12.
Yeah.
4-12. But I guess you can do that when you sign a 10-year deal. Like you have the runway to mess up and do whatever, because he came in there that offseason, he signed the receiver from the Packers, Nelson.
Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson, and you have that.
What's the tight end for the Cowboys?
Was it that offseason or was it next offseason? Was it 2018 or 2019?
We signed a tight end from the Cowboys too. That was my guy's name. Dang, people know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Jason Witten.
Jason Witten, yes.
You know what I mean?
Gruden was collecting old ass skill players.
But he had Khalil Mack on the roster. He had Amari Cooper, just like we talked about. But he ended up trading him away, and then they ended up going 4-12. They didn't improve the next season. But after a while, we started noticing the weaknesses in what John Gruden, and it was not just the draft picks. That right there was enough to be like, hey, you got to go. Like, you keep missing on these draft picks. Like, there's no way that we can have sustained success as a football team. And he has a 10-year contract. I think the main thing, one of the things that a lot of fans forget about John Gruden was the fact that like he struggled in short yardage, he struggled in the red zone. Like I was like, oh my God, as great as an offensive minded coach as he was, like as a play caller, in certain situations he really struggled. And I think that especially it showed against like the divisional opponents when you had to play against like the Chargers and the Chiefs. Like they start figuring out like, hey, yeah, that stuff is not gonna work. But you know, it is what it is, man. Yeah, Gruden was he was a great motivational speaker too, man. Like he made you want to play for him, man.
Yeah, that dreams, nightmares they use for the Raiders hard knocks.
That's probably the greatest hard knocks.
Cold.
Man.
Cold.
Yeah, man. But hey, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Let's move it along, man. Let's go to notable quotables real quick, man.
Sure.
And appreciate the super chat, man. 2 stock, man. Appreciate you supporting the show.
Back to back with it too.
Yep. Let's go. If Severe, if you can give like the intro to the next notable quotable.
So the next notable quotable, I know everybody.
The first one.
Well, the first one, yeah. I know everybody wants to talk about that. Maybe we'll touch on it later. I know everybody's asking about what Spytek said about Aston Genty, you know, and his son. We got a little bit of different one right here, right? We got Spytek talking about best player available and how that looks in terms of, you know, what do you always draft best player available, or do you look at how deep a class is with certain players? Do you make your determination of drafting based off that?
I don't try to devalue any position that way. You know, we try to evaluate the prospect, the person, and figure out if they're a good fit in the Raiders organization. And so, if we think that any of these guys are worth a high pick, then we'll do it. And you know, I've never felt bad about having great players at any position on the team. You know, and how they get there. You know, that's how they get there. You know, the one thing I would say to that is sometimes you do have to. What I was talking about before, like, well, if it's a deep class year and a light class year, like, how do we have the best 2 or 3 picks there, as opposed to just picking this guy? You know, there's an art form and an instinct to that too. But you know, I don't know. I mean, Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley all went to different teams and changed them last year too. I don't think any of those teams were upset about the money they paid them and what they invested in them. I know the Eagles weren't. I don't try to devalue any position that way. You know, we try to evaluate.
He said a lot there, man.
Yeah.
And I think he was being 100% honest when he said that, and it kind of like gives you an idea of like how he looks at the draft, and especially a position where, especially the running back, because right now everybody's talking about that running back position and how much depth there is at that running back position. And when he mentioned depth at certain positions, you automatically thought about, man, like there's no way he's gonna take Genty at 6, because he literally said it's an art in picking players, especially with positions with depth. I mean, what was your take on that?
Yeah. And you know, the question Vinny asked him basically was like, you know what? Basically, I think it was Vinny Bonson. You were asking him a question about, you know, running backs being devalued and how does he factor that into when he drafts? And you know, so he was, you know, because there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of smoke around Ashton Genty, and I think he gave maybe he's playing 3-dimensional chess. Maybe he's saying, I know what, hey, maybe he's trying to throw people off the scent, right? And he's actually going to take action there. I personally don't believe it. But you know, his answer left a little bit of wiggle room, especially they were talking at the end about how valuable guys like Saquon and Josh and Derrick Henry were to teams that made deep playoff runs. So, but as you said, when he started talking about value, you know, this is an extremely deep running back class. It is not deep at other positions, right? It's not deep really deep at linebacker. It's not for sure not deep at wide receiver. It's not really deep at corner. So there are some good DTs actually. I think this is a pretty deep defensive tackle class, but there it's not that deep in some of these positions that we have a need in. So, you know, you kind of got to make a decision, like, do I take, you know, a running back this high when I know there are probably 6 or 7 like legit good NFL starter running backs in this draft class? Or do I take a wide receiver here when there's maybe four no good wide receivers in this class, and they're likely going to be drafted high, where these running backs, you kind of don't know when they're going to go, right? And there's some guys that have some high potential that are even later than that. There you can get in the 3rd and 4th rounds. That he just got Bucky Irving last year in the 5th round. And that guy, turned into a top 10 rusher in the league. So he just saw it get done last year in a class that wasn't even considered as deep as this. So you think that he sees what they do with Bucky Irving. You think the first thing he's going to do is like, oh, I'm drafting a running back in the first. Like, no, like that's not like you don't see what a running back can do. If you identify the right guy late, and then the very next thing you do is you take a running back high in the draft in the class that's full of very good running backs. So like Bucky Irving, like if Bucky Irving was a 5th last year, like he's probably like a late 6th in this draft. Like that's how good the running back class is this year. So nah, man, I think he's saying a lot. He's saying a lot.
Look, I don't think the Raiders are gonna. I think it's all smoke, man. I don't think the Raiders are gonna pick Ashton Jeanty in the 1st round. All this talk, all these mock drafts, all these experts, all saying that the Raiders are they're mocking Ashton Jeanty to at number 6. You know what I mean? Obviously, if the quarterbacks go early, the best players that are available obviously go early. And Genty's left on the board. I mean, there's going to be other players, but I'm just saying, if Genty's on the board, I don't think the Raiders are going to do it. It's just, it's too obvious right now at this point. Genty, like what, Spytek making it obvious. That he was at the pro day. I'm sure he was at a lot of other pro days, but like the fact that he was there and they had him, and then we're hearing all this talk about, even he made a joke about, he was recently on like it was some show the other day where his son, I guess, is like telling him that you got to draft Genty and this, that, and the third. And he told Mark Davis that like, if my dad doesn't draft Genty, then he's doing a bad job and yada da da da. Just jokingly laughing about it. But he was saying that like he said in that same soundbite, he was like, hey, look, like the draft is not like fantasy football about touchdowns and all that type of stuff. So you know what I mean? Like he's saying it without saying it. There's so many things that like just point to him not going Genty at 6. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. It's way too obvious. Everybody's trying to create a narrative that Genty's going to be there at 6. But let me ask you this: do you think Genty's a blue chip player?
Yeah, I think he's a blue chip player. I think he's a blue chip player. But I think Teddy Rose is a blue chip player too. I think Will Johnson is a blue chip player. I think Mason Graham is a blue chip player. So there are a few other guys that are blue chip players in this class, in my opinion. So, like, I'd go with those guys before I go with I'll go with any of those guys before I go with Genty, to be honest with you.
Right, because of value.
Value, yes.
All right, man. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, we're not done yet, man. We got another notable quotable. If you want to give the intro to the next quote.
Yeah, so these guys, this is kind of almost a segue over from what Spytek was talking about. Two of the draft guys from ESPN, that's Kevin something, I forget his last name, and Mike Renner, formerly a PFF. They were doing their overrated and underrated prospects, and Ashton Jeanty is a guy that made their overrated prospect list. Not for the reason that you may think. I think they had a pretty solid take on it, and I think their take kind of aligns with a lot of teams in the NFL. Also with some of my thoughts on the running back position as well.
Right.
Ashton Jeanty, to me, like a Saquon Barkley, can help win a team a Super Bowl. But the operative phrase is win the Super Bowl, not get from 4 wins to 9 wins, yes, which is what most teams picking in the top 10 need to do.
I'm trying to think just off the top of my head, who was the last top 5 running back where it was like you look back and you're like, okay, he was worth it. You know, that made sense to
Top
draft him in
five.
the top five.
I think the Falcons are probably happy they had Bijan Robinson. He was 8, yeah. But then we're looking at the 2023 draft. Jalen Carter went with the next pick. Would you rather have Jalen Carter or Bijan Robinson?
That's like more what I'm saying, where it's like where that guy was undisputed, like where the next few picks or whatever, your other options, the running back was definitely the best one. I think every single time, you know, whether it's Saquon, whether it's Darren McFadden, whether it's Trent Richardson, right? Every single time you look back and you're like, oh, ill. You know, it's just like it does not age well. And no offense to Genty, I think he's awesome. I think he's undisputedly RB1, and I still would take him in the first round. It's just
I agree.
Levels. There's levels. And the levels are very important at the top of the draft. That's why people give up all these picks to go and try to get into the top of the draft. So it's very important not to utilize those picks or to hit triples and home runs with those top 5 picks instead of singles and doubles.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I think it just depends on the situation. It's not even about having a need at running back. It's about where your team is at too. And that goes back to value. And I think that like a team like the Lions, they could make a pick like Jamar Gibbs and be successful because they knew they were in the upward, you know, trajectory of going to the playoffs, and they needed to improve that run game, and you know they wanted to add some explosiveness, and Gibbs gave them that. I just don't think the Raiders, you know, it's you know, I think the Raiders are a few years away from really competing. And I just don't think that, you know, as of right now, look at the offseason. Look at how many starters did we lose? And so basically you're telling me like for the Raiders to be successful, I'm not saying that can't happen. What I'm saying is that like this is what it's going to take for them to be successful. For the next season to be successful in that they can get to the playoffs. Every signing has to almost work, and the draft it gotta be home run. At least 3 out of the, what do you say, like the first 3 or 4 first or 3-4 rounds they get starters, or major contributors.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Ironically, we did that last year, and it didn't make a damn difference.
because the quarterback and injuries, you got to factor in injuries too, and that's another thing too. Like all the great teams in the NFL, they got depth. Raiders got to build depth on this football team.
And part of the reason we don't have depth is that we've drafted poorly for years and years. So instead of having and then also. Not only the drafted poorly, but also the constant turnover in head coaches and in schemes and philosophy. So it's hard to build depth because like the guys that fit the scheme the year before don't fit the scheme the very next year because you've totally turned over the staff. So now you're bringing in guys like Elandon Roberts and Devin White, and you're bringing in these guys because you're trying to, you know, take guys that you have familiarity with or you have some level of comfort with, or they've been in schemes that were similar as yours in other places, and you're hoping they can still, or they can fit seamlessly in your new scheme here. But that doesn't always work, right? So, you know, like for this team to be successful, you know, we need Geno Smith to ball the hell out. You know, we need Brock Bowers to go crazy. We need Jacoby Myers to go crazy. And we need our defensive line. We need Malcolm Kuntz and Max Crosby to dominate on a weekly basis. And we need Christian Wilkins to return to the form he had 2 years ago, as opposed to the form he had last year. So we need all that stuff. But this is going to have to be, you know, a Geno-centric team and a defensive line-centric team. That's going to be the path to our success. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. Build the trenches, man. I think that the Raiders have an opportunity to do that if some things fall their way. But like I said, I can't wait for the draft because it's always there's something unexpected that's going to happen. A player is going to drop. Someone's going to go early that we didn't expect to go early. Say it again.
We mess around, take Nick Emmanwori. Oh, go crazy.
It's possible. It's possible, but you know what it sounds like though. I think Spytek. It sounds like Spytek is gonna have like the draft is his.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Like I don't think it's gonna be a situation where Pete Carroll is gonna be like making the picks or whatever, like in years past where the coach had more power than the GM and yada yada yada. I think Spytek is gonna have an opportunity to like draft his guys. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, man, this point I'm waiting for the draft. But yeah, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. I'm trying to catch up with the chat, man. Y'all hilarious. I'm reading some of these. Y'all funny, man. Realist Raider says Cooper lost his Raiders card the day he was body slammed.
Facts, bro. Facts.
You talking about his first game? His first game as a Raider. I'm not gonna lie though. I was, man, that Baltimore game. That was the second. It was the following week where he caught that long touchdown. The Chargers game where he got off. He took like a screen pass, took it like 50 yards to the house, caught a jump ball. Like, man, Cooper was
that jump ball was cool. That was when I started liking Cooper. He got up and he did like the sword reference. I was like, all right, dog. I was like, all right, Coop. Yeah, I see you, dog.
Coop was nice, man. Coop was a good receiver. I still think he got something left in the tank. So, hey, we'll see. We'll see what the Raiders do. But it takes two to tango, man. Maybe he's not interested in coming back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he got to be interested in coming and wanting to sign with the Raiders too as well. So,
yeah.
Let's see. Two Stock says Cooper took a lot of big hits with the Raiders. Never saw that with other teams he played for. He had a better season. So we trying to say about Derek Carr, what he's saying he's throwing hospital balls. He had a better season with teams besides the Raiders. Did better things with other teams too. Yeah, he had good seasons with Dallas. Someone in the chat, y'all, shout out to. I think Cooper had a really good season, not with the Browns last season, but like I think with Joe Flacco. It's crazy when you give him a solid quarterback. What happens? We'll see what he does. I know he had Josh Allen, but
I was like, bro, yeah, Josh Allen about a solid quarterback.
But you know damn well, like in football, you can't just come in the middle of the season. It's not the NBA where you can just go in and ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's different. Football, like literally, they prepare the whole offseason is preparing for the season and the play and learn the playbook and chemistry and being on time with the quarterback. Like it's that's why trades, historically speaking, like trades like that really don't. I mean, I would say if you're making a trade, trading for like a pass rusher would have a huge impact.
Yeah,
you could just go tell him just go out and get the quarterback.
In fact,
you know what I mean. You'll immediately see his impact.
Facts.
Let's see.
Yeah, it ain't much to learn at that point. It's just like, you know what, just pin your ears back and go get him.
So someone said Lockett. Man, I'm passing on Lockett. I'm passing, but you know, hey, the connection is there. Geno's there. I mean, Pete Carroll's there. But does he have anything left in the tank? Is he a starter? Would you start him on the outside?
Lockett, yeah, probably not. That's the thing. I think he'd be good depth, but I don't want him starting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's Jason Witten. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason Witten. That was crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up.
Jordy Nelson, Jason Witten, Nelson Aguilar, the Zay Jones. We brought in some we got some obscure ass people we brought in.
Hey man, y'all niggas talk bad, bro. I'm on one right now, but y'all talking straight trash right now. But you know we gonna move it along. I'm about to, and what I'm about to do right now. Ooh, this is gonna be so easy for me to do. Ooh, gotta go. y'all roasting. I think Genty's possible at 6. Not likely. All right, let's see. Kevin Lurker, that's because we don't invest in O-line.
I mean, we drafted 2 guys last year.
Raiders X, but damn, Genty's gonna be awesome though. Grand Slam top 5 running back by second season. Don't care what team drafts him. Man,
I mean, Bucky Irving was a top 10 running back in production last year. So, like in the 5th round. So you feel me?
Man, just think of Saquon. Saquon with the Giants.
Didn't do nothing. Josh Jacobs with us last year or the year before.
Well, but I'll say this though: Josh Jacobs wasn't the talent level of a Saquon or even like even Ashton Genty.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I'm saying, but he was he was a former league leading rusher, and then he couldn't do it. He couldn't duplicate that production. So it's your environment in your offensive line, your play call, all that stuff matters. All that stuff matters, and how it also matters is that you can get a guy like Kyron Williams, next to another guy. I think he was in the 5th round too, and he can be second team All Pro. You feel me? So, like, you don't need to draft this guy in the 1st round when there's plenty of other backs that there to be had that you can get very similar production to.
So, top 4 running backs, in your opinion, coming out right now.
I think Genty is number 1. I think Omarion Hampton is number 2, but he's very close to number 1. Trevion, I would say, is number 3, but I would say he's very close as well. After that, I will probably go. I'm probably go Dylan Sampson. I could go Cam right there. I think Cam or Dylan Sampson. I know a lot of people like Caleb Johnson. I already said, like, I'm not really a fan of Caleb Johnson, to be honest with you. So I think those would be the guys. Genty, Hampton, Trevion, Dylan Sampson or Cam, followed closely by Quinshawn.
Okay. I mean, so what's the biggest reason why you wouldn't take Chris? Because I feel like Judkins and Henderson might be close. Well, what's the biggest reason why you would take Henderson over Judkins?
Henderson,
because you look at Judkins, he got the build.
Yeah.
The fact that he went out there and ran like what a 4.4.
Yeah,
he was unexpected.
4.48, something like that. 4.48, something like that.
At 200, yeah, he's like 220 something pounds.
Yeah,
at running back. So it's like,
Judkins didn't look that fast on film. Whether that was at Ole Miss or at Ohio State, he didn't. That's not what I saw. You don't see a guy that's slow. I don't think he's slow by any means, but I don't see that speed on film. When you look at Trevion, first of all, he's far and away. It's not even close. The best back in this class in terms of pass pro. So he can play all 3 downs if you need him to. He's one of the most elusive backs in this class, just in terms of, you put the ball in his hands, just let him be an athlete, let him out-athlete people. He's going to out-athlete most people in the NFL. Just side to side, straight line speed. He can lower the shoulder if he needs to. As a receiver, he's a guy that they felt comfortable enough, like not only catching passes out of the backfield, they split him out wide, and you can do some stuff with him split out wide as a receiver. He can run some routes out there, catch passes like soft hands, and as already said, just his ability to, anytime he touches the ball, it's a potential touchdown. Like, at any time he touches the ball, whether that's as a pass catcher or as a runner, anytime he catches the ball is a potential touchdown. So that's not what I saw from Quinshawn.
It's crazy how, like, in the combine, like, certain players that you expect to run really fast don't run as fast as you think, and it's guys that, like, you wouldn't think that would run as fast run faster than what you thought that they were going to run. So, like, a guy that you thought would run a 4.6 ran like a 4.4 or 4.5, and you thought he like, guy that run, like, for example, Cam Scatterbo, if you believe all the reports, you thought you would think that he would have run like a 4.6, 4.7. He's not known as a speedy guy, but like he ran a 4.5, which is a great time for him. Like, is this a matter of like guys just really preparing for the combine and these workouts, like, and just, or do they really run that? Like, you know what I mean? Because you gotta really trust. What do you trust more, like the film, or you trust combine?
Exactly. That's why I think you have to trust the film more. Like Tez Johnson ran horribly. Xavier Restrepo ran like it was like a 4.8. Like Xavier Restrepo ran a 4. He ran slower than Aiden O'Connell, right? So like and he's a guy that was getting it done in the ACC, right? Like he was one of the better receivers in the ACC last year. So
yeah,
like sometimes you know, like it's all well and good to have the combine numbers, and you want to see the combine numbers to kind of verify what you see on film. But you know, if the guy is showing it on film, at the end of the day, you got to trust the film. So, and some guys, you know, you never know. It's almost like this. You know, there are some people that are good test takers, and you know, and there are some people that, you know what, they're super smart. They're hard workers. They have great study habits. They take great notes. But for some reason, they just can't do well on tests. But hey, you know what? When it comes to doing the work in the class and working on group, hey, they're great. They're great at all that stuff. It's just that when it comes time to test, they're not good at test. And sometimes some players are just not good at test. You know, and sometimes that's what the combine is for these people. It's just they're not good at test.
Shout out to Francis the Sith, man. It says Sampson's has been clocking at 23 miles per hour. I believe his pro day, he ran a 4.42 40-yard dash. So he does have a little bit speed to him.
Dylan Sampson?
How early would you take a Dylan Sampson? Are you considering him in the second round, or is he like a third round at best?
He's like a third round, early fourth round guy. But the thing about Dylan Sampson is he has juice. You know, he's another guy that he can make some big plays, and he's still young. He's like, I want to say he's 20.
I could see Spytek drafting a Dylan Sampson.
I can see that too,
because his size,
he's young,
young and similar size to a guy that he drafted in Tampa Bay, and Bucky Irvin.
Yeah,
I think Bucky was like what? He's like 5'7", 5'8". Same, you know. I think Dylan Sampson's 5'8". Yeah. You know, so it might be a guy.
Taj Brooks is another guy. Like I really like Taj Brooks. Like he's a guy. Donovan Edwards. I talked about Khalil Mullings earlier. Donovan Edwards is a guy who, not this past year, but the previous season, Donovan Edwards had a hell of a year. And in this last year, Khalil Mullings took his job. But Donovan Edwards, he was supposed to be one of the better backs coming into this class. You know, RJ Harvey, Giddens. I like, you know, like there are a hell of backs in this class. LaQuint Allen out of Syracuse. He's a guy that, you know what, there's some potential there, especially as a pass catcher. You know, obviously at Syracuse they threw the ball so much you really didn't get to see him a lot as a runner. But as a pass catcher with the ball in his hands, he's a dude that made plays. You know, we talked about Damian Martinez. You know, I'm not really that high on Ollie Gordon. I've been watching more Ollie Gordon, not really super high on Ollie Gordon. But you know, there's going to be some teams that love Ollie Gordon. Like that, there are so many backs in this class, man. That's why I'm not taking Genty at 6, man.
Jaquavius Marks out of USC. Shout out to Ray LaLosa.
I mean, I didn't watch USC this year, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I generally don't like USC players.
That's the UCLA in you, bro.
I generally don't like USC players. So you know it's
like asking a Raider fan, did you watch that 49er game? And be like, man, I ain't watching.
Exactly.
That's funny, man. But hey, man, let's move it along to what's real, what's not. This is where we say a statement. You just we and you guys react to it and say if it's real or not, as well as ourselves. We're gonna go ahead and react to it as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the first what's real, what's not statement. And the first statement is the Raiders will get Geno Smith signed before the draft. Is that real or is it not? The Raiders will get Geno Smith signed before the draft. Is that real or is it not? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say, what day is the draft again?
April. It's usually April. Like, let me go get the right. It's like later in April.
Yeah, it's later in April. Let's see.
Draft dates.
April 24th. So it gives us about 3 weeks. Now what? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say yeah. That they keep talking about all the momentum building toward it, and you know they've been asked about it several times. I think that's something they kind of want to get out of the way. I'm gonna say. Originally, I thought they'd wait till after the draft class, just for the structure of the contract. But I kind of think they want to get it out of the way. So I'm gonna say yes. Because as to not, I don't think they want a Geno Smith signing to take away from them their drafted players. You would kind of want all the attention to be on your draft class. So I think they get that done early, out of the way. They do their media stuff on that. You have an introductory press conference with Geno, knock that out, and then after that, it's all about your draft and going into next year. That's why I think that's why I'm saying that they get it done.
3 weeks is a long time, and
yeah,
at that point, like Raiders are going to be pretty much done with free agency, meaning that like they might make a signing possibly or a couple signings after the draft or whatever. But I think like for the most part, like, so I'm gonna say it's real. I think they get it in. 3 weeks is a long time. 3 weeks is too long of a time. Raiders X says it will happen. Okay. Hey man. Yeah. Hey look. We agree with you. We agree with you. Severe, if you want to go with the second, what's real, what's not?
Yeah, let me pull it up. What my guy said, Marcus Allen was that dude. Yeah, Marcus Allen was that dude, man. Marcus Allen was that dude.
Out of USC.
You know, Reggie Bush was that guy too. But you know, other than that though, nah. But how your boy Justin Fargas doing?
Hey, I'm just saying, Severe, you for sure was watching this USC with Dwayne Jarrett and Mike Williams and Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer and Reggie Bush and Lendell
I watched
White.
The Reggie Bush.
You know what I mean?
I watched the Reggie Bush because Reggie Bush was one of my favorite players. Ironically, the year that Dwayne Jarrett, so that year, my two favorite college players were Calvin Johnson, who was at Georgia Tech, and Dwayne Jarrett. Because I mean, wide receiver was always I play wide receiver, so I like wide receivers. I always like tall wide receivers too. So I'm 6'4", so I was a tall guy. So right. I like to watch tall wide receivers. So like Megatron and Dwayne Jarrett were my two favorite players. Yeah. Even though Dwayne Jarrett was a SC guy, but that's the last time I rooted for a SC player.
It's crazy that none of them really panned out. Matt Leinart didn't pan out, didn't have a good NFL career.
Nope.
Dwayne Jarrett didn't have a good NFL career. Mike Williams didn't have a good NFL career. It's crazy, and there was a lot of hype. Reggie Bush, to me, I thought was the most talented.
Yeah,
he was
sure.
He was the most talented. I think Reggie Bush was drafted in the wrong era.
Oh, for sure.
If he was in today's, because I don't care what anybody said. Some people were like, "Oh, he was a bust" or whatever. He didn't. Now I still thought Reggie Bush was a good player, man. I thought he was a real good player. I just feel like he just came in the wrong era where they, if he was in today's NFL, he would fit perfectly with what the running back should look like in today's NFL, like a pass catcher, be able to split out wide and at the same time be there on third down and he still can run. He can still run between it. He still can run between the tackles. I remember even with Detroit, he was. It's just injuries kind of derailed his career.
Yeah, I know. I scratched that. There was another SC player I rooted for just because he went to my high school.
With the Tennessee. Shout out to me.
Not DeAnthony Thomas.
The
Black Mamba. But I mean, SC did have some cold backs. Like Sultan McCullough was cold too. Like none of those dudes ever panned out. DeAnthony Thomas didn't really pan out either. Like I don't know, it's one of those things. But don't want to get too derailed.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Palmer was probably the best, arguably the
QB?
best. No, the best guy from that USC era.
At quarterback, yeah.
Yeah.
Quarterback. Quarterback for sure.
Well, you know what I'm trying to think. Was Palomalo, did he come out of USC?
Yeah, Palomalo was SC. I think you got Clay Matthews was SC.
Damn. Was he part of the Pete Carroll? Like he was part of Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm forgetting about like.
Yeah.
Woo.
Ray Maluga. There's another defensive guy too.
Palomalu. I ain't gonna lie. That's probably Palomalu, Palmer, Clay Matthews. Yeah. I was just thinking about offense for some reason. I was thinking offense.
He's not that same level, but Big Cat. I think Big Cat.
Did they have
was
anybody
there.
off in the offensive line? Anybody offensive line?
I don't think.
Yeah, was Lendell?
No. Big Cat wasn't there with Big Cat wasn't there with Pete Carroll. That was later. Damn, at that time, I'm sure they did. I can't think of anybody off top of my head though. I know they had some offensive linemen. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head though.
Lendell went to Tennessee. He got drafted to Tennessee.
The Titans, yeah.
He didn't. What did he? He didn't. I don't think he had. I don't think he played.
He didn't do it. I think he had a good. He had one really good year. I don't know if it's his first year or the second year. I want to say he had one really good year.
Did he rush for?
I believe so. I believe that second year.
I'm gonna look this up.
I want to say he had one really good year. He want to have one. I want to say he had one really good year.
I mean, Lendell White. Let's see. Boom. Who? His career was short. Drafted in 2006, and
I think his
last year
year
was in 2009. Damn, he was a statistic. 3 years, average NFL career.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Second year.
Rushing yards. His second year.
Second year. Okay.
I want to
say he had one really good year.
Yeah, 1,100 yards.
Oh, that's not great. That's not what I thought it was. I thought he had like a blow up like a 13, almost 13 type year. So 1,100, that's cool.
Damn, he averaged like less than 4 yards to carry too.
Yeah, kind of bad.
Yeah, man. But he had a short NFL career. That's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but I thought it was a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
Brian Cushion. Whoo!
Brian Cushion.
Taylor Mays.
Steroid.
Taylor Mays
was trash.
Yeah.
Taylor Mays.
But Brian Cushion was, I ain't gonna lie, he was.
Darnell Bing. Yeah, y'all remember Darnell Bing?
Darnell Bing. I forgot about that. Ryan Khalil.
He was a safety. He was an offensive lineman. Center.
Center? Oh, damn. USC, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bro,
Darnell Bing was All-American safety. I think he played for us for a year. We tried to move him to linebacker. It just never worked out.
Oh yeah. That makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Frosty Rucker, Ray Maluga.
Adoree Jackson, was he? Adoree Jackson part of the?
He wasn't there not with Pete. Not with Pete. That was more recent.
Man, hey man, y'all brought some heat today, man. Hey, go ahead and give the second what's real, what's not.
For sure. The second what's real, what's not. Jacoby Myers will finish next season with more touchdown receptions than Brock Bowers. Jacoby Myers, wide receiver, will finish next season with more touchdown receptions. Strictly touchdown receptions than Brock Bowers.
That I'm gonna say that's not. That's not. I don't think that's real. I think
real.
I think, even though I think that Myers, Jacoby Myers is a good red zone target. I think Brock Bowers will be able to unlock that part of his game, because I know that was probably if you had to critique Brock Bowers, he didn't have a lot of receiving touchdowns. That being said, if Chip Kelly is who he says he is, you know what I mean? If he's that, prolific offensive coordinator, creative, like if he knows how to use his players, a guy like Brock Bowers should have more than what did he have? Like he only had like 1 touchdown, maybe 2.
Yeah, like 4 or 5. 4 or 5. I want to say for sure.
I feel like he should have had way more than what he had, especially with the type of season he had. He had like over 100. Over 100 catches, obviously over 1,000 yards.
Like for 4 or 5, I believe, because he had the one long one for sure with the Broncos. Yeah, like 4 or 5. He had the one where he did the
he had
Trump
5.
dance.
He had 5.
Okay.
He had 5.
Okay.
He had 5. Yeah, he had 5.
5.
I'm gonna say it's not real. I'm gonna say it's not real.
Yeah, I'm going to say it is real. I think Brock Bowers. I think he returns. I think he returns to his dominant ways. I think Brock Bowers, as I said before, I think he gets better as a player. I think just by virtue of us hopefully adding a better run game, adding another outside receiver. I think that I think that his production comes down, even though he's a better player. Just by virtue of those factors. And I think that if we look in a red zone, Jacoby Myers Brock Bowers is a way more physically gifted player than Jacoby Myers. It's not even close. But as a route runner, like Jacoby Myers is light years ahead of Brock Bowers. Even as a jump ball guy, Jacoby Myers is light years better than Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is better than many people thought he was. And I think that's part of his game that was underutilized at Georgia. And he showed that he can do it. He showed on multiple occasions he can do it. But as the guy says, Mike Renner said when talking about the draft, there's levels. And I think that Jacoby Myers is on a completely different level as a jump ball guy than Brock Bowers. So I think that bodes well for him in those red zone situations. So that's why I think it'll be a situation where he has more touchdowns.
But I also think that he's going to be able to get matched up against like a linebacker or a safety and be able to win that matchup. And what we've seen this year, he's able to create a lot of separation and get open. So a guy like, for example, like Hunter Renfrow that we talked about earlier, he had like 9 touchdowns one year. And it was not because of jump ball. It was because he was able to get open in tight spaces.
Yeah.
And I think yeah,
but that's my point. Where Brock he's not as good of a route runner as Jacoby. Jacoby's way more like Brock Bowers beats guys with leverage and with speed, and out basically he's a more physically gifted guy than these guys, so he's going to be able to get that advantage. But when you have those situations where you're in those tight red areas, it's more compact, so it's not necessarily going to the faster guy. At that point, it's the win is usually going to either the guy that's better vertically or the quicker guy. And Brock is fast. He's not really quick. So I think that's why, the red area is the area he's going to struggle in.
Well, I mean, last season he had 4 touchdowns to Brock Bowers' 5.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers also missed how many games?
Let's see how many games he played.
14, I think. 13, 14.
So he played 15 games, started 15 games. So
he played 2 less games.
Let's see. Did Brock Bowers play?
Brock Bowers played every game.
Let's see how much he missed, because I know he was hurt during training camp.
He hurt during preseason. He didn't play preseason. He played every game. That's why I was looking at Malik Neighbors when they were talking about breaking a record. Malik Neighbors had broke the record in 15 games. He played 2 less games than Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers came in, broke it week 17, but he had played all 17 games. That's why I was happy that Brock Bowers, when he broke the record for tight ends, I want to say he did it before the 16th game, so people couldn't say, "Oh, the only reason he broke it was because he played 17 games." He broke it like in 16 games, so it wasn't like, "Oh, you got the advantage because you got extra game." He did it in the correct amount of games, so they couldn't try to tarnish the record.
Oh, 16 games. 16 games. So 16 to 15 games. You know what I mean? 16, had 112 catches. Jacoby Myers, he finished with 87. It's pretty similar, but I just think that like you give him a good OC, we'll see who's gonna get more featured. You're gonna see who's gonna be more. We'll see. But I
think Brock Bowers is gonna get more features. Brock Bowers is gonna put up more yards. He's gonna put up more receptions, but Jacoby's gonna put up more touchdowns.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just who's Bowers gonna be matched up with? It's all about matchup too, right? And a guy like Jacoby Myers, as of right now, he's probably gonna be covered by the best cover corner on the other team,
or not. I mean,
he's not gonna be matched up with a linebacker. Myers is not gonna be
No, but they might decide depending on where the Raiders line Brock up, they might put the best cover corner on Brock.
But that's a mismatch too, because of size.
But that's my point. Is how much
does Bowers weigh? Like 250?
He's gonna probably gain more weight. I think
230, 240, something like that.
240 something. But he's gonna put on weight this year though. So
230. They got him listed as 230 right now. 6'4". I think he's 6'3" though. He can't measure out 6'3".
But I think he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back this year 240. He's gonna be stronger. He's gonna come back this year like more. Because if you look at him, he's not super toned up. I think he's gonna come back this year like more toned up, more ripped, and he's gonna be probably put on some good weight this summer.
Are we counting rushing touchdowns?
I think I said receptions. I thought I said reception. I think I said receptions, yeah. But I do think that is something that's gonna be. Hopefully they unlock that part of his game because we really didn't do it last year. Yeah, and that's something he was hella good at Georgia. So that should be something they try to do.
So in Georgia, if we look at his Georgia stats, right? Georgia, Brock Bowers, right? Stats.
It's not fair to look at his Georgia stats because he was hurt. He was hurt a lot of his last year, and I think he was hurt. He was hurt every year except that first year. He got hurt this year, and he got hurt a lot of the season.
We'll just look when he was healthy. So let's just look at when he's healthy. I'm gonna look at 15 games. Let me see how many touchdowns did he have in college, right? So he was featured in college, right? Just like he's gonna be featured in the NFL.
Yeah.
2021, man, had like 14 touchdowns. 14 touchdowns. 2022 had 10. 2023 he had 7. That was the year that he was hurt. Yeah. So, dude,
he was hurt every year.
I'm just saying, and that's just. Oh, my bad. 13 touchdowns in 2021. That was like the most. So it would have been 14. I think he had like one rushing touchdown. So like 14 altogether, but 13 receiving touchdowns in 2021. That was like the most he had. Yeah. And then he followed up with 7. And then the following year he had 6. So, and now like I'm going Brock Bowers, but hey, we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting to see what Chip Kelly cooks up as far as the offense and how he kind of incorporates like the best players on the team. Yaya says I think B-Rock will improve, although he's not going to get as much targets. All right, we'll see. Lynn Beats says Myers' IQ makes him a great number 2. He knows what QBs are seeing in zone, man, etc. while running through progressions. And is he a former QB?
He's a former QB.
Former QB. Okay, yeah.
Former QB. So just for context, right? Brock Bowers put up 5 touchdowns last year. The best, who everybody considers the best receiving tight end of all time, Travis Kelce, right? In terms of just receiving. He only has 3 seasons where he put up double-digit touchdowns. So he had 10 in 2018, 11 in 2020, 12 in 2022. So, like I was saying, receivers or tight ends don't. And one of those years, I'm sure was the game he had 4 touchdowns against us. So that's
unless your name is Baby Gronk. Unless your name is Gronkowski, because I know like he was a touchdown machine.
Yeah, he's probably a touchdown machine. Yeah, but that was
17
that was like
1 year.
Possibly. But so like Travis Kelce is a guy who was featured heavily in that offense, and and he's not, because like I said, generally tight ends don't put up a lot of touchdown production for whatever reason. Like you even look at the best tight ends in the league. Look at Laporta. Look at T.J. Hawkinson. You don't want to necessarily say Kyle Pitts, but like a lot of those guys don't really put up a lot of touchdown production for whatever reason. So,
what was the most that Kelce ever got?
12.
12. So the most Gronkowski, and Gronkowski is like an all-time great tight end. He had 17 in 2011. And then from there he had 11 and 11 games started. 11 games. So that's to tell you his production level. His rookie year he had 10. His second year he had 17. Third year he had 11. Then the fourth year he was hurt. Like he literally played only 6 games. He had 4 touchdowns, but he came back healthy. The next year had 12, 11. So I think it just depends. Let's look at, and I'm putting Gronkowski in here because y'all gonna be like, oh well, Gronkowski is an all-time tight end. Well, Brock Bowers is talented, bro. I'm comparing him to the best. So let's look at Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates, he's a receiving tight end, right? You know what I mean? Kind of. All right, let's look at Antonio Gates, because Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates. Let's see. Okay. So rookie year he had 2. Second year in the league he had 13. He had 10 his third year. Then 9, 8, 10, 7, 4, 12, 5, 7.
So yeah, I'm saying like tight ends don't put up a lot of touchdown production like that. Like,
that's pretty solid though.
It's solid, yeah, I'm solid. But I'm saying Brock at 5 is like that's like a solid. That's like, hey, Brock 5 touchdowns, pretty good. It's pretty good.
No, but what I'm saying though, like he's getting 13 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns. That's actually pretty good. That's receiver touchdowns. All right, so let's look at like receiver. All right, let me look up. Let's see. Give me a receiver.
Let's see. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. I don't want to like, oh, let's look at Justin Jefferson. Like, let's look at let's look at Devontae Smith. I think that'd be fair, right? He's a number 2 receiver. Look at Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. Oh, here you go. His name is spelled differently.
Yeah, spelled crazy.
Yeah. All right. Look, 5 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. See what I'm saying? Like, but that's Devontae Smith. Let's get someone better. Let's someone better.
No, but I wanted to be. I wanted to be fair.
AJ Green.
I want to be fair.
AJ Green. No, I'm just saying. Let's look at top end, because then we can see.
Oh, look at top end, bro. It's not gonna be no compare. Devontae Smith doing that as a number 2 receiver. AJ Brown.
AJ Green. AJ Green. I mean AJ Brown.
AJ Green or AJ Brown. Okay.
AJ Brown.
Yeah, because it's not fair. It's not. I mean, like I'm saying, I'm trying to compare like what I think. Which T. Higgins, not T. Higgins.
Bro, like that's top. He's doing top receiver stuff. 8 touchdowns his rookie year. 11 touchdowns his second year in the league. 11 touchdowns is the most he ever had. Philadelphia, it was the most he had. 11, 7. Let's look at what's another receiver, bro? Mike Evans. Mike Evans is like probably the best. I think he probably had some crazy seasons with touchdowns. And Devontae too. I think Devontae 1 year had hella touchdowns with Aaron Rodgers. Damn, what the fuck? Why is it not pulling up? Mike Evans. All right. Touchdowns. Look at 12, 3, 12, 5, 8, 8, 13, 14, 18, 14, 6, 13, 11. So it's kind of around like that, just above 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
These are really good receivers. And a guy like Mike Evans, that's like he's a red zone target. You feel what I'm saying? Like he's a big target.
Exactly. Yeah.
6'4", 6'5", you know. If you think about it, they're about the same size.
Brock Evans. Brock's
a little smaller,
bit bigger. Obviously, shorter, but Brock is probably like bigger.
But Pro Football Reference, I don't know how accurate this is. They have him at 6'5", 231 pounds. For Brock Bowers, they have him at 6'4". You know, I think the Combine had him at 6'3" though, but 230.
Okay, yeah, people kind of say he's kind of like a big slot.
Let me see Devontae though. I know Devontae got hella touchdowns.
Career wise,
yeah. Well, he had 1 year. I know he had like hella, but let's see. But he had an elite quarterback. Let's see. He played with Aaron Rodgers. He had 18 in 2020. See, that's like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's like
Like if you give you give an elite quarterback a weapon, a number one receiver, a number one whatever, they will take full advantage. 18.
Yeah.
14.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, he had 14 with the Raiders. His first year, he had 14.
And that's what Derek Carr.
You know what I mean? But then we just seen the high end for a tight end is Gronkowski. He had 17. So high end for high end.
But like who did Gronkowski have as his OC?
Who did Gronkowski
Josh McDaniels. Had Josh McDaniels. Or who did Devontae have when he? Well, obviously the other one, the 18 wasn't. But when he put up that 14, Josh McDaniels.
Right.
Your offensive coordinator matters, but like that. But my point is that it's kind of a crapshoot. Like the best tight ends, sometimes they put up crazy numbers, sometimes they don't. Like unless you're like Tom Brady and you got Josh McDaniels and Gronkowski. We don't got Tom Brady. Brock. I think Brock he's on the trajectory to be Gronkowski, be Travis Kelce, be Antonio Gates, but I think he has to come back and do that again. That's what I'm saying. It's a very good chance, especially if Jacoby is wide receiver 1, which he might end up being, depending on how to draft, because we might just end up getting a deep threat. So if he's like number 1 wide receiver, then there's a very good chance that he gets a nice target share in the red zone.
Well, what was Geno Smith's first year with the Seahawks? Was it like 2022?
As a starter?
Yeah, as a starter.
2020, 2022, yeah, 2022, 2023, 2024, yeah, 2022, 2021, 2022. Because last year was 22, 23, 23, 24. Yeah, 22, 23, I think. But 2022. That's the best year he had. The best year he had might have been the second year, I think. The best year he had might have been that second year.
Okay. And DK Metcalf had like 8 touchdowns that year in 2023. Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of see what DK what he does with like big targets, weapons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think Brock is like and I think Brock is more DK-ish than Jacoby-ish. I think Brock is more out athlete you. I'll be more physical than you. I'm faster than you are. And he's not the hey,
I want to see. I ain't gonna lie. Like if Brock Bowers is not utilized correctly, I'm okay with firing Chip Kelly. I'm sorry.
I don't even say he's not gonna be.
He need to go, correctly. Bro. That's how for sure I feel like Brock Bowers is. Like he proved to me that he's that guy at tight end. He's the best player on that offense. I'm just joking around or whatever. I don't want anybody to get fired after their first year, but there are exceptions.
Yeah,
there are exceptions, man. But
I think Brock is gonna have a hell of a year. Like I said, I think his production is gonna come down. I think just by virtue of the run game being better, I think just by virtue of better quarterback play, better ball distribution, pause if necessary. I think it's not going to be a situation where, we pass, we drop back, and the first thing we do is, where's Brock at? I think it's like we have a quarterback that's going to go through his progressions and trying to find an open guy. I think a lot of times that open guy is going to be Brock because he's going to beat guys, fairly quickly. But I think we have a guy that's going to, feels comfortable distributing the ball around the different guys. And so I think his production, I think he's going to come back better. I think he's going to come back bigger, in better shape, probably faster. But I still think he takes a step back in terms of production, even though he comes back a better player.
It could happen. Especially it depends on how they address that receiver position, because shout out to Diehard Raider. He says just keep Jacoby Myers at wide receiver 1. Draft Dante Thornton at 6'5", 214, 4'3".
Yeah, that's your boy.
40 time. He's my boy, but like I don't want him as he's one of those guys where you just stash and you develop him. Like I don't think he's gonna be ready to go right out the gate.
Yeah.
And there's certain things about his game that I think he's gonna be available like later in like the 5th or 6th. But like his athletic profile is kind of nice, but at the same time, I think I remember where I was looking at his combine measurements. He does have like small hands though.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, some
or short arms. He had short arms. My bad. He had short arms.
Short arms. Yeah, he did. He had short arms. He didn't have a great vert.
It was like 30. Like,
yeah, it was like kind of nasty.
I think it was like 12 inches or something like that.
Yeah.
Applause.
It was kind of short. Yeah. Hey yo. Man, control yourself. But yeah. So we'll see. But like I said though, I think Brock comes back. I think he's still first team All Pro next year at tight end, but I just don't think he puts up the same numbers.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. I just wanted to see Thornton's athletic profile. 6'5", 205.
35-inch vert?
33.
Oh my god, yes he. Oh my, that's worse. Come on, bro. Come on, 33. Oh, come on, my dog. That's bro.
Hey, at least he's 6'5" though. He's 6'5".
Yeah, that's
32 inch, 32 and 1/8 inch arms, 4.3 speed, 1.51 for 10-yard split.
That's good. The 1.51. But man, remember you said he ran a 4.3 right at 1.51. Henry Ruggs was at 1.43. You said it was Henry Ruggs, bro. That is lightning, bro. That means he's out the gate. He's gone, bro. He rolling through.
You know what's crazy about you see it with certain players. Darren McFadden did it, and like even Henry Ruggs. When they run, it don't seem like they're running fast, but they just go by people with ease. Like it's crazy. Moving. Straight line speed though. It's a lot of straight line. I think Henry Ruggs didn't have like the side to side like I'll shake you, juke you, whatever.
But he didn't have that. I don't think he learned how to do that in football because he was a basketball player. So I think usually basketball players generally have that lateral movement. I think he just didn't learn how to apply it to football yet. That's what I'm saying. If he would have got just more time on task as a football player,
it's true. If he's running away from people, that's facts.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a deep threat. He's not going to be a jump ball guy. He's going to be a deep threat. So, but I think that's when you look at vertical jump, that speaks to your overall lower body explosion and how fast. Man, pause again. Goddamn. But goddamn. But that's just like just how explosive you are as a player. Yeah. Yo, that was crazy. That was crazy.
Man.
Yeah, so I mean, that speaks to you. That just speaks to to how explosive you are as a player. And if you don't got a good vert, it makes me question that question your the strength you have in your legs.
Yeah, but it's like it's not someone that like I don't think the Raiders are targeting it. Like it's just one of those like, oh, okay, Like I don't know. Like he's not going to be one of those guys where I think like the Raiders are going to be looking to draft because there's so many other needs that we're going to be like if he's available and then like you know what, like in the 6th round or the 5th round or whatever. You know what? Let's take a flyer. Let's take a flyer on this guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It is what it is. I do like the athletic profile though, like 6'5", like 4.3 speed, hand size, everything. Yeah, 4.3 speed. You know what I mean? I like the 10-yard split. Yeah, man.
Crazy, bro. Ruggs was crazy, bro. Dang.
Is he
crazy?
You know who didn't have a big 40? I don't think Henry Ruggs had a big. Not Henry Ruggs. Amari Cooper had a big 40. Vert. Am I tripping?
Possibly not.
I was surprised. I was surprised that I don't. Hold on. It was somebody that didn't have a big vert, but they were a jump ball. They were good at attacking the ball in the air. Amari Cooper. Ooh, Raiders listed as a free agent landing spot for Amari Cooper. Okay. That's speculation though. Oh, Bills leave door open for Amari Cooper return in 2025. Oh, okay, damn. Let's see if he wants quarterback play. Scouting report. Let me see scouting report on
It's 33. Damn, his 40 with his 10-yard split was kind of slow.
Yeah.
His 10-yard split was kind of slow.
33. Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, damn, man, got his 40 was 4.42. But this is where
that wasn't really his game though.
But this is where you were like, and he did. See, this is back when when players used to do the drills. Nowadays they just do like a couple of drills and they be like, yeah, my agent, talk to my agent about. Exactly, my agent told me not to compete. Nah, but this is where you argue about, okay, what did he show on film? You know what I'm saying? And with the Raiders, he was a guy that like attacked the ball in the air, was able to get open, a good route runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But hey, man, it's been a great show, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. People, they dying in the chat. Make sure to clock in. At this point, clock out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. It's been a great show, man. Severe, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
And you guys know what it is. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, on IG, on X, on Snapchat, on TikTok, basically everywhere, social media, The Severe Raider. Every Tuesday night, man, a world famous 50-50 show with my guy, PharoahNFL. Then we got Around the Shield. We've been coming at you guys on Thursday nights, just to make sure we keep up with the news live on Thursday nights. And then, Sunday evenings, I'm rocking with the Raider War Room. My guys, Chris from Protect the Shield and 805 Raider. I am the king of mock drafts those Sunday nights. That's why if y'all watched the last show, y'all saw your boy in my outfit, in my royal garb, because I am the king of mocks. I have to let the people know what time it is. Three in a row, 3-peat, baby. I'm dominating. 3 weeks in a row. We're going to keep the streak going. And then Tuesdays I rock out with them as well in the Raider Roar Room, man. So make sure y'all tap in. If y'all haven't done so already, head over to my guy PharoahNFL's channel and hit that like and subscribe button. If you're on my chat, if you're on his, make sure you come over to my channel and do the same. And if you enjoy what y'all saw today, make sure y'all share with some people, man. Some Raider fans, some people that are just football fans looking for some good content, some good football talk. Make sure y'all share the love.
No, facts 100%, man. We'll be back here later this week with Around the Shield, and we'll have a guest. So make sure to tune in, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell. It's going to most likely be a live show. If so, definitely hit that notification bell because it's going to notify you, let you know the latest on any updates regarding our channels or shows. Make sure to tune in and make sure to give us a follow on Around the Shield on X and IG. And yeah, man, and shout out to everybody pulling up. You guys, difference is Thornton is 6'5" and has a big body. Yeah, I'll give you that, man. I think the size, I wouldn't mind him in the later rounds. I wouldn't mind him. He's there like in the fourth, fifth round.
Yeah. Oh, difference between him and Ruggs though? No, but think about Ruggs is 4.27, and his he talking about him between.
Okay.
I think they're talking about
Ruggs.
Ruggs.
Yeah.
Or are you talking about Mari? You talking about Mari? Then yeah. I thought you were talking about Ruggs, but because
Ruggs is a lot more way more explosive. But you know,
1.43, 10. That's insane, bro. And he was mad about that 4.27. He probably he probably wanted to come back and run another one. His agent probably said him like, "Nah, don't do it." But he wanted to come back and run another. He was trying to. He was intent on breaking the record.
Yeah. Diehard Raider says difference is Thornton. He said Crabtree is better at contested catch than Cooper, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I agree with that.
But that's it. Crabtree had to be though, because he wasn't as fast.
But some players' game speed is different. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, man, and that's what a guy like Amari Cooper gave you. Like the game speed is different. Even a guy like Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker, we talk about how like his speed and this, that, and a third. He ran a 4.4.
Oh yeah, Trey Tucker's Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
He's hella small. You would think, if Trey Tucker runs a 4.2 or 4.3, you know what I mean? You would expect like a guy that small like be like the fastest person on the football field. But technically speaking, he ran a 4.4. But you know, maybe football speed is a whole different conversation. But man, we could go on and on, man. Be back here around later this week on Around the Shield. Severe, any last thoughts before we head out?
Nah, man. Just make sure y'all tap in, man. Like as I said before, hit the like button, hit the notification bells. The draft is rapidly approaching, man. So y'all be ready.
Yes, sir. All right, man. We out of here. Peace.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.